411 An Introduction to God. Mitswah, Instructions. 7. Shuwb, Return. Being restored. God's message does not change, but it does change us. Even after Yisrael's relationship is reconciled, the covenant family will continue to be guided by the Torah. Concurrent with Yahweh's return on the day of reconciliations in year 6000 the God of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Jacob will place his Torah inside of his children, helping us navigate eternity. The great liberator has become the greatest of the prophets. As we read these words spoken in his time about our time, we find a special resonance. This is because Yahweh is most readily known, adroitly understood, and fully appreciated when his thoughts are filtered through the minds of exceptionally observant and intelligent individuals like Moseh. Dabarim is in Moseh's voice. It represents the prophet's insightful commentary on Yahweh, the covenant, and Torah. At times he was inspired to share prophetic advice as he is doing here, even though Dabarim's primary purpose is to convey the insights he has deduced from the words God communicated through him. While Dowd is the only individual in the long march of history who exceeds Moseh's relevance and contribution, we are all affected similarly. Every moment with Yahweh is a learning experience, one we are motivated to contemplate and enumerate. It is why these 412 translations are accompanied by commentary. I could not fathom withholding the insights derived along the way. Nor could Moseh, as the great liberator spoke of a second exodus, of the chosen people returning home once again. It was a subject on which he was an expert. I would like this to be an awakening for you, indeed for all who are willing to listen. The book misnamed Deuteronomy, as the concluding chapter of a tome believed to contain a myriad of antiquated laws which no longer apply, is the antithesis of what the religious have been led to believe. Dabarim speaks to us today regarding the issues Yisrael is grappling with at this time. So, are you among those willing to recalibrate your perspective on God, his Torah, and people and then be counted among those he is calling home? Can you do as Hezekiah did and consider the Torah from Yahweh's perspective and then apply his guidance appropriately? A time will come to exist, Wahaya, at a moment in time it will actually occur, Cal perfect, when indeed, KY, because, all of these statements, Shurl Hadabar Ha'aleh, each of these words, accounts and promises, will come upon you, Vo'alota, this will happen to you, Cal imperfect, the blessings, Habaraka, and the disparaging ridicule and vilifications, Wahaklala, the derision, mocking, and disdain, the accusations and curses, which I have placed before you, Asher Nathan La Panaota. Then, you will return, Shuwb, you will change your perspective and be restored, Haifel perfect, your heart and mind, El Libabota, your thinking and inclinations, while still within all of the Gentile nations, Varshel Hargawim, where, Ashasham, Yahweh, your God, Yahowah Elohim Otter, has scattered you, Nadak Otter, has exiled and banished you, Haifel perfect. Dabarim, words 30-1. 413 Yes, you will return and be restored, Shuwb. In addition, you will come back home again, changed, indeed transformed, and then you will turn, Cal perfect, continuously and forevermore to, add, as a result of the eternal and restoring witness of, Yahweh, your God, Yahowah Elohim Otter, because you will start to listen to his voice, Shama Bar Kalhu, as you will hear his call, as it is consistent with everything which I have taught you at this time, Karshel Asher Anoki Zawa Otter Ha-Yam. You and your children, Ottawa Beni Otter, with all of your heart and soul, Bar Shurl Libab Ottawa Bar Nipesh Otter, each of you exercising good judgment with regard to your thinking and feelings, and based upon your ability to observe and respond guiding your consciousness. Dabarim, words 30-2. Yet again, Yahweh, your God, Yahowah Elohim Otter, will restore you along with your fortunes, returning you from residing in another place where you are controlled and oppressed, Shubeth Shabbat Otter, he will return you to that which is yours, recalling you to a much more favorable place and circumstance. He will be compassionate and merciful, demonstrating his love for you, Racham Otter, he will show kindness and affection for you, as he once again returns and restores you, Shuwb, he brings you back home, gathering you again, Kabat Otter, obtaining you as in a harvest, from all of the peoples, Min Shurl Ha-Am, where, Ashasham, Yahweh, your God, Yahowah Elohim Otter, has scattered you, Pools Otter. Dabarim, words 30-3. Even if, your outcasts Nada Otter, your exiled and lured away, are, higher, in the outermost parts, Barkatseh, are at the outskirts, of the universe, Harshamim, from there Ninsham, Yahweh, your God, Yahowah Elohim Otter, will obtain and gather you 414 Kabats Otter, will assemble and harvest you. And so, from there, Min Sham, he will grasp hold and receive you, Lakek Otter, he will select, collect, and accept you. Dabarim, words 30-4. Then, Yahowah, your God, Yahowah Elohim Otter, will come for you, arriving to include you, Otter. He will return to bring you back, within the land, El-Ha-Erez, to the place and realm, which, as a benefit of the relationship, Asher, your fathers received as an inheritance, Yarasha by Otter, such that you will now inherit it, Yarash High, you will receive it as an heir. You will be in a good place, cheerful and prosperous, right and pleasing, Yatab Otter, looking good and doing well, glad to be accepted. And you will be greater than, more numerous and more capable, Warabah Otter, you will be exponentially superior to, more empowered and abundant, than your fathers, Minabai Otter. Dabarim, words 30-5. In addition, Yahowah, your God, Yahowah Elohim Otter, will circumcise, mobble, will remove the covering over, your heart, your inclinations and judgment, Ethlibab Otter, your thinking and feelings, and the thoughts and motivations, Ethlibab, of your offspring, Zerah Otter, of your descendants and of what you sow, so that you come to love, La Ehabeth, you desire, showing affection for, and you come to enjoy a close relationship with, Yahowah, your God, Yahowah Elohim Otter, with all of your heart and soul. Barshel Libab Otter wa Barshel Nipesh Otter, and in this manner, you will live, Laman Che Otter, and as a result, your life will be restored. Dabarim, words 30-6. Then, Yahowah, your God, Yahowah Elohim Otter, will place, Nathan, will bestow, all of these curses as a form of retribution, Shel Ha'aleh, all of the oaths sworn on behalf of Allah, upon your enemies 415 Al-Oyab Otter, on those who oppose you and show hostility toward you, who are adverse to you, upon those who detest you and who were unwilling to coexist with you, while Sain Otter, as well as upon those who hate you, intensely dislike you, showing an aversion toward you. Especially those who have persecuted you, Asher Radaf Otter, those who have harassed and oppressed you, acting insolently toward you. Dabarim, words 30-7. And so, you will return and be restored, Otter Shuwb, then you will be transformed as you are brought back home, Kalim perfect, by listening to the voice, Shama Bar Kaul, of Yahowah, the proper pronunciation of Yahowah, our Eloah, God as directed in his Torah, teaching regarding his existence and our Shalom, restoration, and by observing, Shema, by choosing to closely examine and carefully consider, Kalwekatal perfect. Each of the instructive conditions regarding what he has offered and expects in return, Shel Mitswah, all of his authoritative directions and written instructions which comprise the precepts of what he has established, from to consider the who, what, why, where, when, and how of Zarowa, appointing and establishing, constituting the message, and enjoining by shouting out instructions and directions regarding what has been constituted, which, to convey the benefits of the relationship, Asher, which, to show the proper path to walk to get the most enjoyment out of life, I, Anki, have instructed you, providing directions for you, Zarowa Otter, I have appointed and established for you, calling these terms and conditions out to you, along with what is being offered and expected in return, at this time, Hayam. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 38. If that does not bring you to tears, and move you to respond, you may want to check your pulse. 416 Speaking of what is clearly a second Exodus, this one preceding Yahowah's return, the Israelites will have seen the best of God juxtaposed against the worst man has to offer. The people will be disparaged, ridiculed, and vilified, something which is becoming so pervasive it is the one thing the progressive left and conspiratorial right share in common. And so it will be away from this universal hostility that God will be withdrawing his people, bringing them out of Babylon and back home. This time, however, Yisrael's reconciliation with Yahowah will be forevermore. This will occur because finally, after thousands of years of turning a deaf ear toward God, the people will listen. And when they do so, they will recognize that Yahowah's message has not changed, therefore, the voice they will hear is the same as Yisrael heard nearly 3,500 years ago. In this case, Moses is simply a reporter revealing future history. God is restoring the fortunes of his people by conducting the final harvest. Jews are coming home, and their visas are being stamped by Yahowah. With their inheritance restored, God's family will be in a good place. Away from the rabbis, they will be right again, such that they can be empowered and enriched by Then demonstrating an appreciation for the symbolism of circumcision, Moses reveals that Yahowah will remove the previously impenetrable covering over the people's hearts. Free to think and feel again on their own, they will come to know and love Yah, something the rabbis have prohibited. And while this homecoming on the day of reconciliations is worth celebrating, God's work is not done because, to be just, there must be retribution. Those who have been averse to Jews and Israel will find the God they denied treating them, as they treated his children. And while Yahweh's condemnation will envelop all who have 417 persecuted his people, it is those who have screamed Allahu Akbar who will most regret having been terrorists. If you are desirous of being among those returning home, those who are selected and obtained by Yah, then you are now aware that it is by listening to Yahweh's voice that these benefits are awarded. And we know that by observing the instructive conditions illustrating what God is offering and expects in return that our souls are restored. So therefore, because truly and surely, you should actually and consistently listen, Shama, you always and literally hear, being attentive, kal imperfect, to the voice, kaul, the sound, call, and summons of Yahowah, the proper pronunciation of Yahowah, our Eloah, God as directed in his Torah, teaching regarding his existence and our Shalom, restoration, your God, Elohim Otter, by closely examining and carefully considering, La Shema, thoughtfully scrutinizing, diligently observing, and attentively studying, kal infinitive construct, literally, actually, and genuinely, intensely, actively, and demonstrably, continually, consistently and habitually being observant regarding that which follows, the instructive conditions regarding what he has chosen, constituted, offered, and expects in return, Mitswah, his authoritative directions and written instructions which comprise the precepts and terms of what he has established, to consider the who, what, why, where, when, and how of Zarowa, appointing and establishing, constituting the message, and enjoining by shouting out instructions and directions regarding what he has commissioned, along with his clearly communicated thoughts and prescriptions regarding everything that should be done to get the most out of life, including being cut into his relationship and 418 receiving a share of the inscribed allotment, and his engraved requirements regarding what he has appointed so as to receive a portion, from chazaq, to cut in, to inscribe, to engrave, and to portray something which has been prescribed, which was written, ha-katab, that which were inscribed and prescribed, engraved and permanently memorialized, indelibly recorded and documented in the text conveyed, in the scroll, ha-sefer, in the inscribed and documented letter and book, of this Torah, ha-Torah ha-zeh, of this source of instruction and teaching, guidance and direction. This signed, written, and enduring means to search for, find, and choose, the instruction, teaching, guidance, and direction, which provides answers which facilitate our restoration and return, that are good, pleasing, beneficial, healing, and right, purifying and cleansing, thereby giving us the opportunity to change our thinking, attitude, and direction to one that is more beneficial. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 30:10. This is as explicit as words allow. We can Shama, listen to the voice of Yahowah, our God, by Shema, closely examining and carefully considering the katab, written text of his Torah, teaching and guidance. When reciting the Torah, we should focus upon Yahowah's Mitswah, instructive conditions regarding what he has chosen to offer and expects in return. In addition to God's Mitswah, the written instructions established for the covenant relationship, we are wise to consider Sukah, his clearly communicated thoughts and prescriptions regarding everything that should be done to get the most out of life. Those who do will be cut into the relationship and receive a share of the inscribed allotment. This speaks of the inheritance received by the covenant's children. Listen by observing the Torah. 419 For this reason, therefore, truly and surely, you should listen to the voice, Shama Barkaul, literally and continually hear the audible message, kal imperfect, of Yahowah, your God, Yahowah Elohim Otter, by intensely observing, La Shema, by very closely examining and carefully and consistently considering, kal infinitive, genuinely and literally, demonstrably and actively focus upon, the instructive conditions regarding what he has offered and expects in return, Mitswah, his authoritative directions and written instructions which comprise the terms of what he has established, to consider the who, what, why, where, when, and how of Zarowa, appointing and establishing, constituting the message, and enjoining by shouting out instructions and directions regarding what he has commissioned, and his clearly communicated and inscribed prescriptions to be cut into the relationship, Sukah, his engraved thoughts and recommendations regarding life and being allocated a share of what he has appointed and enacted, which are written, ha-katab, which are scribed and documented, inscribed and engraved, kal participle, in which the writing is both literal and vivid, genuine, and highly descriptive. Within the documented scroll, sefer, in the written book and inscribed record, of this, the Torah, ha-Torah ha-zeh, of the teaching and guidance, the directions and instructions, so that you can return, Shuwb, such that you change and be restored, resulting in being transformed while coming back, scribed in the kal stem, telling us that this relational result is real and it should be interpreted literally, and with the imperfect conjugation. Affirming that the restoration will produce ongoing results, second person singular, speaking to you individually, 2, Yahowah, Yahowah, an accurate presentation of the name of Eloah, God as guided by his Torah, instructions regarding his higher existence, your God, Elohim Otter, with all your heart, thinking, 420 and inclinations, Barshel Libab Otter, with your full volition and contemplation, and with all your soul, Wa Barshel Nipesh Otter, as well as with every aspect of your individual consciousness, your ability to be perceptive and responsive. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 30:10. This is similar to the previous statement except it goes one step further, to the restoration and return of individual Israelites to Yahweh. Therefore, the means God has provided for his people to come back home, for Yahweh to return to Yahweh and be reconciled, their relationship restored, is by listening to the voice of the Torah. This is accomplished by closely examining and carefully considering the Mitswah and Sukah, the expectations applicable to what God is offering which serve as prescriptions for living. The Torah, therefore, was written to restore our souls so that we can return to God. It is the means behind our transformation from mortal to immortal, from flesh to spirit, from a product of man to a child of God. Beyond the recognition that this is the lone, sanctioned approach to Yahweh, there are 4 additional and essential aspects of our journey we should acknowledge. First, these directions and this guidance are found within the written scroll of the Torah. Therefore, should you have a Babylonian Talmud, this would be a good time to discard it. Second, because this is prophetic of what will soon occur, and because the only applicable consideration is the Torah, the notion of a New Testament must be rejected. It would be ludicrous to believe that God began our existence and relationship with his Torah, only to change course midstream. Third, our approach to God is through our ears and eyes and, thus, takes place in our minds. We must listen to 421 the voice of Yahweh and observe his Torah to capitalize upon what he is offering and expects in return. And fourth, admission into the covenant and access to heaven is afforded to those who are wholly committed to knowing and loving our God. For this reason, there are no shortcuts. Moses is repeating aspects of this essential message because it is life and death, because time is now short, and because there is a great deal more to overcome. In fact, the second Exodus, of which Moses is speaking, is far more challenging. This time, the foes are more numerous, and far too many Jews have chosen their fate. It is not just Miriam that is abusing the people, but now progressive liberalism, communism, Christianity, Islam, neo-Nazism, and conspiracy. Moreover, the most debilitating foes are the wolves in the sheepfold, rabbis. This time, Yahweh is appealing to the hearts, minds and souls of his people. He is inviting them to return home. He is not dragging them kicking and screaming. This time it is your choice, and the option to remain or return has been offered through these words rather than by way of a strong and resolute hand. Moses is repeating himself because there is no other viable option available to God's people. We no longer have the luxury of time. It is now or never. And because the decision to return to Yahweh and to be restored within the covenant is an individual choice, rather than scribing this prophecy using atom, you all, Moses has underscored this distinction by using otter, you individually throughout. If you are convinced that it is time for you to stop trusting the religious and political, indeed, to stop fearing them, then the approach to God is encapsulated within the Torah's Mitswah, Cook, and Mishpat. These instructions are provided through the 5 conditions of the Berith, covenant and in the 7 Mikre, invitations to be 422 called out and meet with God. While you will discover what Yahweh has to say about these essential elements of his plan of reconciliation delineated within the family, invitations, harvests, and appointments volumes of Yada Yahowah, it would be advisable to commence your journey to God with beginning followed by the story of man. The recurring theme throughout Moseh's prophetic declaration has been Shuwb, to change, to return, and to be restored. This applies to the descendants of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Jacob because they are the only ones who have previously been in fellowship with Yahweh, although it was long ago. Further, the path back home is through listening to and observing the Torah, teaching and guidance of our God, speaking directly to you. Truthfully, indeed, because truly and surely, these instructive conditions regarding that which has been offered and is expected in return, ha-mitzvah ha-joth, these directions and written instructions which comprise the terms of the established relationship, from my, to consider the who, what, why, where, when, and how of Zarowa, appointing and establishing the message, constituting and enjoining it by shouting out the guidelines and directives regarding what has been commissioned, which, to convey the proper path to the benefits of the relationship, Asher, which, to show the correct way to walk to get the most enjoyment out of life, I, Anki, am instructing you, providing directions for you, Zarowa Otter, I have appointed and established for you, calling these terms and conditions out to you. Along with what is being offered and expected in return, Peel participle, Moses engaging you such that you demonstrably benefit from his instruction and are moved to action. At this time, HaYam, they are not too difficult for you to understand, Lo Pala Hai Minota, they are not overly challenging, surpassing what you can accomplish, Nephil 423 perfect, by rising to the occasion at this moment in time, you will benefit. Nor are they beyond your reach because they are about the here and now rather than a time and place long ago, while Lo Rechauk Hai Minota, furthermore, this is about no longer being alienated in the present as was the case in the distant past, from Forkdoi which includes Hymen and Otter. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 30:11. Through this remarkable man, among the two greatest who have ever lived, Yahweh provided his people, both then and now, with the means to restore their relationship and return. Within the Torah, there are Mitswah, instructive conditions which explain what God has offered and expects in return. These instructions direct the steps of those who wish to know and love Yahweh. Having studied the words Moses wrote on our behalf, I share his assessment. Yahweh's instructions regarding the conditions of the covenant are not too difficult to understand. They are appropriately challenging, but nothing that surpasses what we can accomplish when our hearts and minds are aligned. Think of what those who have sought to climb Everest have done in preparation for their ascent, only to return to the place they began. Now consider the fact that we are ascending infinitely past the limits of our three-dimensional physical realm to Yahweh in the seventh dimension where we are no longer constrained by time or gravity. And while many have demonstrated that we can climb to the heights of earth, Moses is affirming that we also have the capacity to follow his instructions to rise up to the heavens and meet our Maker. There are two distinctly different and yet related ways to interpret Moses's concluding comment. He is either reinforcing the idea by using Lo Rechauk that God's Mitswah are within our reach, or after affirming that none 424 of this is too difficult for us, he is revealing that these instructions apply to us in the here and now. Alienation from God is something we can now resolve. And either way, we are being reminded that he is addressing the surviving remnant of God's people during the last days. These books, all of them, were written to you and for this reason. Yahweh is calling his people home. He has, therefore, inspired us to place Moses's instructions within your grasp such that everything he has proposed is within your reach. It is all right here, right now, right in front of you. It is not in the spiritual realm of the heavens, Lo Bar HaShamim High, such that you must inquire, La Ma, who will make this ascent for us, Maya La La Nakyu, who, when, where, and how will someone go up there for us, Kalim perfect, to heaven, HaShamim, and grasp hold of it after collecting it and then bring it to us, Walakak Hai La Nakyu, to receive and obtain it, accept it and take it away, Kalim perfect third person singular masculine, so that we may listen to it, Washama Nakyu Eth High. So that we can hear what he says about it, Hyphal imperfect, we cause him to make it possible for us to consistently hear, and then engage by acting upon it, Wa Sahai, so that we can capitalize by responding to it. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 30:12. So, what is it referencing? Is it the Nez, banner Yahweh has promised to raise up for his people during the last days? Is it the Torah, now presented and explained in the most popular language on earth in the Yada Yahowah series, books which are freely available at the click of a button from YadaYah.com, accessible to everyone with a smartphone? Is it the scroll Yahweh has promised to display in support of his two witnesses? Is it all of these things? 425 on Towrah in 2001, Yahweh chose a Chota, Sukah whom he depicts as his Nakri, observant and responsive foreigner to compose his Nez, banner which he is raising to call his people home. Courtesy of God, you have been handed what you need to know to approach him. The question which remains is whether you will devote the time required to read it, especially knowing that what you invest now will be returned to an infinite extent, and that by going from learning to teaching, from receiving these directions to guiding others, you have the opportunity to enlarge and enrich the covenant family forevermore. Yahweh's Nakri is a Gawi who resides surrounded by water in the midst of the sea on a virgin island. And yet, with the assistance of some devoted and talented covenant members, along with the technological advances of the digital age, every word we have translated is available to you in electronic, printed, and audible form at YadaYah.com. You can read or listen on your phone, tablet, television, or computer. Or if you are like me and enjoy the tactile feel of a good book, this, the second of 30 volumes in the Yada Yahowah series, can be in your hands royalty-free via Amazon.com in a matter of days. Neither is it in Hebrew, nor across the sea, Walo Minebala Ha-Yam Hai, and it is not from Hebrew or out of the ocean. The pronoun was corrected to feminine by Forkdoi and thus still addressing the Mitswah, such that you have to ask, La Ma, who, my, will cross over, Obar, pass from one side to the other, for us to the Hebrew on the opposite side of the sea, La Naknu El Eba Ha-Yam, approaching us regarding Hebrew from the sea representing Gentiles, and grasp hold of it after collecting it and then bring it to us, while lakak hi la'aneknu, to receive and obtain it, accept it and take it away, kal imperfect third person singular masculine, so that we may listen to it, wa shama aneknu eth hi, so that we can hear what he says about it, hyphal imperfect, 426 we cause him to make it possible for us to consistently hear, and then engage by acting upon it, wa sah hi, so that we can capitalize by responding to it. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 30:13. The use of eber, which is the Hebrew word for Hebrew, may have been deployed to address the realization that the language in which the Torah was written, is now spoken by so few people that it, by itself, would have posed an obstacle to understanding. Also, eber in concert with yam may convey the idea that these words are no longer beyond our grasp because they have been translated by a Gentile, of which yam, serves as a metaphor. Either way, a translation of the Hebrew text into the language spoken by more people, including Jews, than any other would make it easier for everyone to understand. By way of explanation, obar, which serves as the basis of Passover, eber, which means across, in the region beyond, or on the opposite side, and ibri, Hebrews, the plural form, are written identically in the original text as ein beith rosh. Also, while ibri is said to be based upon eber, it is more likely from the verbal root obar, to pass over. Therefore, the Hebrews exist as a result of Pesach and the language defines the people. Now realizing that the text of Moseh's message has been delivered to you so that you can listen to it and then act upon it, be aware. Because at that time, actually and truthfully, even verifiably then, the exceedingly empowering and tremendously enriching, Maud, the extensive and magnificent, from Yud, the bringing together of the firebrands word, Hadabar, message and account, communication and statements, will be close to you, Karob Elota, will be in your immediate proximity, very near you. 427 when in your mouth, heart, and hand, bar peota wa bar libabota bar yodota, when incorporated into your speech, thinking, and actions, the addition of bar yodota comes from forked oi, you will be able to approach by acting upon it, la sahai, you can engage and draw near by capitalizing upon it, kal infinitive, literally and actually, actively and energetically, continually and consistently participate based upon it. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 30:14. This statement, especially when corrected to reflect the 1,200-year-older text written in Qumran, reveals that the word of God was in the possession of the Israelites. As a result, it should have influenced their testimony, thinking, and actions, permeating every aspect of their lives. As a prophet, Moses was held to an exceedingly high standard. His every word had to perfectly convey the truth, particularly when speaking about future events. And like no other, Yahweh's words are extensive, enriching, and empowering. Throughout the prophets, and particularly in conjunction with the Chota and Naka, Yahweh speaks of the role his Nes plays in calling his people home. As if coming from the sky, Israelites and Goim will find God's message brought directly to them. This is Yahweh's gift on behalf of his covenant family. Of your own accord, look closely and be perceptive, choose to open your eyes, become aware by being observant, and adopt this perspective, kal imperative. I am offering, Nathan, I am freely granting and giving as a gift at this time, kal perfect, on your behalf and in your presence, la panaota, accordingly before you, this day, ha yam, at this time, that which is associated with, life, HaShem, the source of 428 continuous and sustained lives, healthy and beneficial nourishment, vigorous living and abundant growth, and that which is good, HaTob, along with that which is generous and beneficial, productive and appropriate, festive and joyous. Beautiful and pleasant, valuable and agreeable, favorable and right, pleasing and enjoyable, of noble character and moral, but also, that which accompanies death, harmoith, with the plague and pandemic disease which leads to the demise of an entire population, in association with that which is bad, along with that which is debilitating and counterproductive, inappropriate and disagreeable, displeasing and unpleasant, evil and wicked, hindering and harmful, destructive and afflicting, miserable and errant, immoral and wrong. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 30:15. All you have to do is open your eyes and read. The word of God is here for the observant. This most marvelous installment comes to us through Moses. The Torah he articulated through Yahweh's inspiration brings life, healthy and sustained, beneficial and nourishing, continuous and forever growing life. It is good. However, to be able to choose to be with God, to show a preference for life and that which is beneficial, we must be afforded the option to reject these things, as foolish as such choices appear to those of us who know the difference. Therefore, the Torah is the result of what was offered and occurred within the Garden of Eden. It presents that which is beneficial and leads to the tree of lives while admonishing us against that which is counterproductive and results in our demise. Both are presented as a reflection of the tree of the knowledge of good and bad. Throughout the Torah and prophets, Yahowah does a marvelous job of presenting both sides, conveying the benefits of the relationship along with the consequence of 429 religion, the result of being wrong compared to what occurs when we are right. Then it is up to us to educate ourselves and choose wisely. Considering all that Yahowah is offering and how elegantly his words are written, the magnanimous nature of his gift, and its exceptional value, it is perplexing that over the past 3,400 years, for each one who has chosen wisely, 1,000,000 have chosen poorly. And while we cannot resolve anything which has previously transpired, as we all have but one life to live, learn, and decide for ourselves, we can influence the future, helping those who still have time to choose appropriately. So, you will have to excuse us if we come across as impatient or blunt, even uncompromising and overtly critical of the consequence of religion, because the voices advocating that which is wrong are as plentiful as they are deadly. Far too few have spoken on behalf of Yahowah, his Torah, and prophets, Mikra and Berith. The tree of the knowledge of good and bad has become lopsided, with evil flourishing and that which is fruitful pruned being beyond recognition. Therefore, to achieve some balance, these books are many and they are long. And in them, the truth is cultivated while deceptions are lopped off at their source. In that our goal is to please God and enlighten men and women, we make no apologies. What follows serves as a summary of the Torah's purpose. It is lengthy, so you would benefit by reading the bold text first to get a sense of its scope and then go back and examine the etymological shadings. So, to show the proper way, that which, Asher, as a result of the relationship and these associations, I am, Anoki, instructing you, Zarowa Otter, I am directing you, appointing and establishing for you, calling these terms and conditions out to you, this day, Ha-Yam, is for the purpose of you coming to genuinely love, La Ahab 430th, is for you to approach by engaging in a close personal relationship, by wanting to develop a familial connection, scribed in the Kal stem, telling us that our love should be genuine, and in the infinitive mood, which when prefixed by La, conveys purpose and intent of that which is active and intensely devoted to, Yahowah, Yahowah, an accurate presentation of the name of Eloah, God as guided by his Torah, instructions regarding his higher existence, your God, Elohim Otter, by walking in his ways, La Holak Bar Derek Hugh, approaching by traveling along his path, scribed in the Kal stem. Telling us that our walk must be in accord with the truth, and in the infinitive which intensifies every aspect of the journey, and, also, by observing, while La Shema, by diligently scrutinizing and investigating, and then thoughtfully deliberating while focusing upon, scribed again in the Kal stem and in the infinitive mood which convey that which is genuine and literal, consistent and continual, actionable and intense, these instructive conditions regarding what he has offered and is expecting in return. Mitswah Hugh, these directions and written instructions which comprise the terms he established for the relationship, from my, to consider the who, what, why, where, when, and how of Zarowa, appointing and establishing the message, constituting and enjoining it by shouting out the guidelines and directives regarding what has been commissioned. Along with his clearly communicated and inscribed prescriptions, Wachukahu, the engraved thoughts which cut you into his relationship agreement, inclusive of the recommendations and requirements of his covenant, and his means to make sound decisions, especially regarding the way to resolve disputes, Wa Mishpat Hu, the basis upon which we exercise good judgment, and decide what is right regarding him. This is so that you can make the choice to live, Wa Chea, you will be renewed and restored, your life sustained and preserved, Kal Wekatal perfect, actually, 431 relationally, volitionally, and continually alive, and decide to thrive, increasing in stature and capability, being empowered and enriched, Wa Rabah, becoming much greater in every possible way while experiencing exponential growth, Kal Wekatal perfect, actually, relationally, volitionally, and continually alive. Yahowah, Wa Yahowah, as directed in his Torah, teaching regarding his higher existence, your God, Elohim Otter, wants to kneel down, diminishing himself in love, to favor and bless you, Wa Barak Otter, will greet you, welcome you, commend you, and invoke loving favors upon you, Peel Wekatal perfect, you receive the benefit of Yah's desire to continually bless you, in the land, Bar Ha Eres, in the place and realm, which, as a benefit of the relationship, Asher, as a result of walking along the correct path, you are returning there by name, Otter Bo Sham, you are coming to and will be included in this place, Kal participle, returning in a literal and descriptive manner, receiving it as an inherited gift, La Yarash High, approaching as an heir, Kal infinitive, continually and demonstrably possessing it. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 30:16. In context, remember that Moses had asked us to be especially perceptive because his instructions were a matter of life and death pertaining to that which is good and bad. Therefore, he says, if we follow his directions and walk to God along the proper path, we will come to love Yahowah. By observing the conditions of the covenant, and by recognizing what Yahowah is offering and expects in return, we will be right with God and live. When we apply the means he has provided to exercise good judgment regarding his prescriptions for living, we are allocated a share of the inheritance God is providing. Our lives will be restored and sustained, and we will thrive. As a result of these instructions, Yahowah will empower and enrich us in every possible way and enable us to experience 432 the kind of exponential growth which will occur when we are increased from 3 to 7 dimensions. When we walk along the path Yahowah has provided through Pesach, Matzah, Bikurim, Shabat, Towrah, Kippurim, and Sukah, Father and Son welcome us into their company. This path takes us to the promised land, which is the very place Yahowah is inviting his people to return. But more than this, Moses predicting the reconciliation of Yisra'el with Yahowah and eternal life in his presence. This is the second time Yahowah has inspired Moses to use Rabbah, the basis of rabbi, to be great. He is suggesting that these reconciled Israelites will be vastly superior to those who have degraded them with their stifling religion. There are few things as insightful as seeing Yahowah as the subject of the verb barak and Yisra'el as the object. This means that God is going to diminish an aspect of his nature so that, as a loving father, he can get down on his knees to lift up his covenant children, commending them while helping them grow. This is the proper perspective from which to view God. Rather than us on our knees, foolishly attempting to lift him up in prayer and praise while countervailing his intent, he wants to get down to our level so that he can raise us up to his. Our Father wants to have a relationship with us. He wants us to stand with him, to walk with him, to explore the universe with him, and to listen and talk to him. And so, he needs to enhance our capabilities, transforming us into his spiritual children, which is to enrich and empower us. Yahowah facilitated our growth by enabling his Son to fulfill Passover, unyeasted bread, firstborn children, and the promise of the Shabat in 33c, thereby providing the benefits of the Berith, covenant in year 4000 year. 433. These events represent God on his knees lifting up those who were willing to listen and respond. I realize that the idea of God bowing down before Yisrael so that his people might stand with him is at odds with every religion, but it is nonetheless true. God, himself, makes this point early and often. Frankly, God is in a position to lift all of us all the way up to heaven while all of us combined haven't the capacity to move him at all, nor would there be any benefit of doing so. Furthermore, a God who would create an inferior being to worship him would not be worth knowing. As a responsible father, since Yahowah has explained the way to life and to that which is good, especially our enrichment and empowerment as heirs to the covenant, we should expect him to warn us about the alternatives which would lead us astray. However, if your heart and thinking are turned away, Panalibabota, your judgment and ambitions turn elsewhere, Kalimperfect, and you do not listen, Lo Shama, you do not hear this message, Kalimperfect, and you are lured away, Nada, you are seduced and stray, you are enticed and are scattered, becoming outcasts who are banished, Nifal Wekatal perfect, and you speak, writing explanations and making announcements, regarding bowing down in worship, Wachor. Such that you talk about prostrating yourselves, Hikbaal perfect, making such declarations on your own initiative at any time, to other gods, La Elohim Aka, approaching other, different, and additional deities, and you actively engage with and serve them, Wa Badhem, you minister on their behalf, Kalwekatal perfect, Dabarim, words 30:17, I am reporting the following message, warning you of this verdict, Nagadla Otter, I hereby am purposefully and deliberately informing you. Telling you while making this known to you 434 Hyphal perfect, this day, Ha-Yam, that indeed, KY, truly and surely, you will assuredly perish, Abadabad, you will absolutely squander your lives, ceasing to exist, Kal infinitive Kal imperfect, literally and emphatically, genuinely and continually, also when Hebrew words are repeated, this has an exponential effect on their meaning. Your days will not be prolonged, Lo Arak Yamim, your time will be short, upon the surface of the earth, Al-Ha-Dama, on the ground, which you are passing over, Asherot Arba, the Jordan, Eth-Ha-Yarden, that which descends, to return there and enter, La Bo-Sham, as an heir, La Yarash. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 30:18. We can listen to Yahowah or turn a deaf ear to him in deference to men, which is what religious Jews, Christians, and Muslims have done. And while doing so is a prescription for squandering one's life, there is something far worse, and that is to speak on behalf of false gods and serve them. One of the most intriguing words in this pronouncement is chor. It is the basis of chor, the name Adam gave his wife. It means to make a pronouncement, to offer an explanation, to convey a message, to tell someone something, to provide a declaration, and to justify one's position. A number of lexicons, however, offer a secondary connotation which is to bow down in worship. I have included both implications in the previous translation, emphasizing the former over the latter. In this context, elaborating on behalf of and justifying a false god is far worse than bowing down and worshipping one. However, when Towrah is associated with Yahowah, only the primary connotations apply because, while God wants us to make our intentions regarding him known, he has no interest in us worshipping him. 435 Also fascinating was the use of the hitpale stem and the perfect conjugation, making such declarations on your own initiative at any time. This stem is rarely used and speaks of actions which are entirely self-motivated and, therefore, not influenced or compelled by an outside force. Therefore, God could be suggesting that, while both are wrong, it's one thing to acknowledge the likes of Jesus or Allah when forced to do so, and another entirely, when there is no compulsion. This is actually a big deal for Jews because both Christians and Muslims have offered them the choice of their head or their God. There is yet another valuable lesson in this statement. As we shall discover many times over, the consequence of failing to observe Yahowah's Torah is not eternal torture in hell but, instead, ceasing to exist. And while this is a waste of a soul's potential, it is not a punishment. Upon their mortal demise, the souls which have associated themselves with false gods, and who have worshipped them, and thus who have wandered away from Yahowah, will simply cease to exist. The Word of God, his Torah, teachings exists so that we might make an informed and wise decision regarding Yahowah, his covenant and his promises. I am repeatedly testifying, I am continuing to bear witness to the future, to the return and restoration, to assist and sustain, delineating the consequences and contingencies, perfect, amongst you all, bar atom, with you and among you, this day, ha-yam, with regard to, the spiritual realm, ha-shamim, the heavens, and with regard to, the material world, ha-eres, the earth, about life, ha-chaim, living and being nourished, remaining alive and flourishing, and death, ha-moeth, the plague and pandemic disease which causes a population to die. 436 I have placed, Nathan, provided and given, offered and set, before you, la panaota, concerning your presence, the source of blessings, ha-baraka, the treaty of peace and the gift of enrichment and prosperity to restore the relationship, feminine of barak, to bless, and also the curse of being abated as worthless, ha-klala, of being diminished as a result of being held in low esteem, of becoming non-existent as a result of being irrelevant, of not being valued and considered unworthy, of being destroyed through denigration and vilification, feminine of kalal, to be of little or no value. So now, therefore, you should choose basha, after a thoughtful examination and assessment, you should select exercising your brain and free will to show your preference for, the kal relational stem conveys reality and the wekatal perfect is the volitional form of a completed act with ongoing consequences, that which is associated with life, ha-chaim, so that, la mam, you, otter, and your offspring, zerah, your seed and descendants as well as what you sow, may live, chea, may actually remain alive, be constantly nourished, and continually grow, kalim perfect, dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 30:19. Rendered as I am repeatedly testifying, speaks of being a witness who addresses future consequences, particularly regarding returning and being restored, doing so with certainty and clarity to help the audience by offering the full range of possibilities. Also means to sustain and assist. The same three letters, rendered as ode, convey the idea of continuing to do something repeatedly, again and again beyond what would be expected. Further, is related to ed, which is enduring testimony and a restoring witness. The verb's action is influenced by the hyphal stem, which reveals that Moses is seeking to motivate the object, which is you, so that you engage as a witness, just as he has done. 437 inches the perfect conjugation, his testimony should be seen as whole and complete. There are rare occasions in which bar, which means in, with, or among, can be rendered as against. But this is not one of them. Moseh's prophetic portrayal was spoken on behalf of the people, not against them. Further, conveys supportive testimony which prepares the listener for future eventualities. One of the reasons that I am sharing this with you is because English Bible publishers would have you believe that Moses, in conjunction with the heavens and earth, is condemning Israel as opposed to encouraging the people to make an informed decision. The King James Version protests, I call heaven and earth to record this day against you. The New American Standard Bible reads, I call heaven and earth to witness against you today. The New International Version proposed, this day I call the heavens and the earth as witnesses against you. The Jewish Publication Society Tanakh offered, I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day. And all the while, I had thought that the God of heaven had asked Moses to witness on behalf of the people. Let's be clear since they were not. The Hebrew word to convey call is kara, not yud. And since Shuwb is a helpful witness, bar cannot be rendered as against. By having presented Moseh's speeches on behalf of the people in Dabarim, words 4, 6, 29, and now 30, we have come to appreciate that he was the living embodiment of Shuwb. His testimony has been repetitive. He has borne witness to the future, particularly regarding the return and restoration of the people. He had clearly delineated the consequences of choosing to listen to Yahowah versus ignoring him. He has continued to present every pertinent possibility. 438 Further, while it is often appropriate to leave eth untranslated, this is not one of those times. Here it must be rendered as eth, with regard to because, while Yahowah, his Nabi, prophets, and his Malach, messengers speak on behalf of HaShem, the spiritual realms, heaven, as a place, does not have a voice, and the eres, land or earth is an inanimate object. There is no moeth, death in Shamayim, just as che, life is individually unsustainable on eres. The choices we make during our mortal chayim, lifetimes on eres, earth regarding this Shuwb, sustaining testimony determine whether there will be che, life after moeth, death and an extension of time in Shamayim, heaven following our experience on the eres, earth. Therefore, I think this fully amplified translation is more accurate and useful than what the religious theologians and scholars have previously provided. I am repeatedly testifying among you, continuing to bear witness to you regarding your future return and restoration to assist and sustain you, once again providing you with all of the consequences and contingencies, Shuwb bar atom, at this time, ha-yaum, with regard to, eth, the spiritual realms of the heaven, ha-shamayim, and with regard to, wa-eth, the material realm of the earth, ha-eres, about life, about living and being nourished, remaining alive and flourishing, ha-chayim, and about death. The plague and pandemic disease which causes a population to die, Wah-ha-morth. Having provided you with the evidence and insights into the options available to us, you are free to question this rendering, either verifying it and learning from it, or rejecting it in favor of a disgruntled prophet marshalling heaven and earth against the chosen people. 439 Your decision will likely influence how you respond to what follows. I have provided as a gift and placed, Nathan, before you, La Pana'ota, the source of blessings which restore the relationship, Ha-baraka, and also the curse of becoming irrelevant and considered worthless, diminished and no longer existing, Wah-ha-klala. So now, therefore, you should choose after a thoughtful examination and careful assessment, showing that you prefer, Basha, that which is associated with life, Bah-ha-chayim, so that, La-mam, you, Otter, and your offspring, Zerah, may continually live and grow, Shea. Properly informed, this is the most important decision you or I can make. And this is how we can demonstrate to God that we have made this choice. By coming to love, La Ehabeth, approach and draw near by demonstrating genuine affection in a close personal relationship with, showing a strong desire to be associated with that which pertains to, Cal infinitive, genuinely and relationally, intensely and demonstrably, consistently and continually love Yahowah, Yahowah, an accurate presentation of the name of Eloah, God as guided by his Torah, instructions regarding his higher existence, your God, Elohim Otter, by listening to, La Shama, by hearing, Cal infinitive, what he has to say, Bar Kal Hu, his voice, and by remaining very close to him, while La Debak Bar Hu, by consistently clinging to him and choosing to be closely associated with him, Cal infinitive. For indeed, Ky, he, Hu, is the source of your life, Otter, is your basis for your existence and living, and of prolonging, Wa-orik, and of extending and lengthening, your days, Yaumota, enabling you to abide, La Yashab, to settle down and live, inhabiting and 440 dwelling, Cal infinitive, upon the land, Al-ha-adama, on the soil and upon the material realm, which, as a benefit of the relationship, Asher, which, to show the correct path to get the greatest enjoyment out of life, Yahowah. A transliteration of Yahowah as instructed in his Torah, teaching regarding his higher existence, promised, Shabat, swore as an oath in recognition of the relevance of 7, to your fathers, La Abai Otter, to Abraham, La Abraham, on behalf of the merciful and enriching father, to Yitzhak, La Yitzhak, on behalf of laughter, Isaac, and to Yaakov, while La Yaakov, reward or consequence, on behalf of my stance, I grab the heel, Jacob. Offering a gift to them, La Nathan La Hem, providing and bestowing this on their behalf. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 30:20. So now, we, after careful consideration, can demonstrate our decision to live with God by forming a close, personal, and loving relationship with Yahowah. This is accomplished by listening to him. And the only way to do so is to recite the words he inspired his prophets to write about him. Yahowah conceived life, and he alone can prolong it. And the means he deploys to do so are the Mikrei on behalf of his Berith through his Ben. Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov are not some random fellows. They are synonymous with the creation and development, the announcement and delineation of the covenant. The promises Yahowah made were on its behalf. Through the greatest of the prophets, Yahowah disclosed so much vital information on the value of observing his Torah. Let's reconsider his advice. A time will come to exist, Wahaya, when indeed, all of these statements, Shul Hadabar Ha'aleh, will come upon you, Boal Otter, the blessings associated with the relationship, Habaraka, and the disparaging 441 ridicule and vilifications which diminish your standing and status, Wahaklala, both of which I have placed before you, Asher Nathan La Panota. Then, while within all of the Gentile nations, Wabar Shul Hagawim, where, Asher Sham, Yahowah, your God, Yehovah Elohim Otter, has scattered you, Nadak Otter, you will return, Shuwb, your heart and mind, El Libab Otter. Dabarim, words 30-1. Yes, you will return and be restored, Shuwb, continuously and forevermore as a result of the enduring witness to, Yahowah, your God, Yehovah Elohim Otter, because you will listen to his voice, Shama Barkalhu, as it is consistent with everything which I have taught you at this time. Karshel Asher Anoki Zawa Otter Ha-Yam, you and your children, Otter wa Beni Otter, with all of your heart and soul, Shul Libab Otter wa Bar Nipesh Otter. Dabarim, words 30-2. Yet again, Yahowah, your God, Yehovah Elohim Otter, will restore you along with your fortunes, returning you from residing in another place where you are being controlled and oppressed, Shubeth Shabal Otter. He will be compassionate and merciful, demonstrating his love for you, Racham Otter, as he once again returns and restores you, Shub, gathering you again, Kabat Otter, from all of the peoples Min Shul Ha'am, where, Asher Sham, Yahowah, your God, Yehovah Elohim Otter, has scattered you, Pools Otter. Dabarim, words 30-3. Even if, your outcasts, Nada Otter, are, higher, in the outermost parts, Barkatseh, of the universe, Harshamim, from there, Min Sham, Yahowah, your God, Yehovah Elohim Otter, will obtain and gather you, Kabat Otter. And so, from there, Min Sham, he will 442 grasp hold and receive you, Lakek Otter. Dabarim, words 30-4. Then, Yahowah, your God, Yehovah Elohim Otter, will come for you, arriving to include you, Bo Otter, within the land, El Ha-Erez, which, as a benefit of the relationship, Asher, your fathers received as an inheritance, Yarash by Otter, such that you will now inherit it, Yarash High. You will be in a good place, cheerful and prosperous, right and pleasing, Yatab Otter. And you will be greater than, more numerous and more capable than, even exponentially empowered beyond your fathers, Rabah Otter Minabai Otter. Dabarim, words 30-5. In addition, Yahowah, your God, Yehovah Elohim Otter, will circumcise, removing the covering, mole, of your heart, your inclinations and judgment, Ethlibab Otter, as well as the thoughts and motivations, Ethlibab, of your offspring, Zarowa Otter, so that you come to love, La Ehabeth, Yahowah, your God, Yehovah Elohim Otter, with all of your heart and soul, Shul Libab Otter wa Shul Nipesh Otter. And in this manner, you will live, La Manche Otter. Dabarim, words 30-6. Then, Yahowah, your God, Yehovah Elohim Otter, will place, Nathan, all of these curses, serving as retribution, Shul Ha'aleh, upon your enemies, Al-Oyab Otter, upon those who detest you and who were unwilling to coexist with you, Al-Sain Otter, especially those who have persecuted you, Asher Radaf Otter. Dabarim, words 30-7. And so, you will return and be restored, Otter Shub, by listening to the voice, Shama Bar Kaul, of Yahowah, and by observing, Shema, each of the instructive conditions regarding what he has 443 offered and expects in return, Shel Mitswah, which, to convey the benefits of the relationship, Asher, Anki, have instructed you, providing directions for you, Zawa Otter, at this time, Ha-Yam. Dabarim, words 30-8. So therefore, you should actually and consistently listen, Shama, to the voice, Bar Kaul, of Yahowah, your God, Elohim Otter, by closely examining and carefully considering, La Shema, the instructive conditions regarding what he has chosen, constituted, offered, and expects in return, Mitswah, along with his clearly communicated thoughts and prescriptions regarding everything that should be done to get the most out of life, including being cut into his relationship and receiving a share of the inscribed allotment, Chakahu, which were written, Ha-Katab, in the scroll, Bar Ha-Sefer, of this Torah, Ha-Torah Ha-Zeh. For this reason, you should listen to the voice, Shama Bar Kaul, of Yahowah, your God, Yahowah Elohim Otter, by intensely observing, La Shema, the instructive conditions regarding what he has offered and expects in return, Mitswah, and his clearly communicated and inscribed prescriptions to be cut into the relationship, Sukah, which are written, Ha-Katab, within the documented scroll, Bar-Sefer, of this, the Torah, Ha-Torah Ha-Zeh, so that you can return, Shuwb, to, El, Yahowah, Yahowah, your God. Elohim Otter, with all your heart, thinking, and inclinations, Bar-Shel Libab Otter, and with all your soul, Bar-Shel Nipesh Otter. Dabarim, words 30:10. Truthfully, these instructive conditions regarding what has been offered and is expected in return, Ha-Mitswah Ha-Joth, which, Asher, I am providing as directions for you, Anoki Zarowa Otter, at this time, Ha-Yaum, they are not too difficult for you to 444 understand, Lo Palahim Otter, nor are they beyond your reach because they are about the here and now rather than a time and place long ago, Lo Rechauk Hai. Dabarim, words 30:11. It is not in the spiritual realm of the heavens, Lo Bar Ha-Shamim Hai, such that you must inquire, Lama, who will make this ascent for us, Maya La La Nakyu, to heaven, Ha-Shamim, and grasp hold of it after collecting it and then bring it to us, Lakak Hai La Nakyu, so that we may listen to it, Shama Nakyu Eth Hai, and then engage by acting upon it, Sa Hai. Dabarim, words 30:12. Neither is it in Hebrew nor across the sea, Lo Min Eba Ha Yam Hai, such that you have to ask, Lama, who, will cross over, Obar, for us to the Hebrew on the opposite side among the Gentiles, La Nakyu El Eba Ha Yam, and grasp hold of it after collecting it and then bring it to us, Lakak Hai La Nakyu, so that we may listen to it, Shama Nakyu Eth Hai, and then capitalize by responding to it, Sa Hai. Dabarim, words 30:13. Because at that time, the exceedingly empowering and tremendously enriching, Maud, word, Hadabar, will be close to you, in your immediate proximity, Karob El Otter, when in your mouth, heart, hand, and integrated into your speech, thinking, and actions, Bar Pe Otter wa Bar Libab Otter, you will be able to approach by acting upon it, La Sahai. Dabarim, words 30:14. Of your own accord, look closely and be perceptive, opening your eyes to be observant, Ra. I am offering, Nathan, on your behalf and in your presence, La Pana Otter, this day, Ha Yam, that which is associated with, life, Ha Chaim, and that which is good, generous and beneficial, productive and appropriate, valuable 445 and agreeable, favorable and right, Ha Tob, but also, that which accompanies, death pursuant to the pandemic plague which destroys entire populations, Ha Moeth, in association with that which is bad, debilitating and counterproductive, inappropriate, and displeasing. Harmful and destructive, errant and immoral, Ra. Dabarim, words 30:15. So to show the proper way, that which, Asher, I am, Anoki, instructing you, Zarowa Otter, this day, Ha Yaum, is for the purpose of you coming to genuinely love, La Ahabeth, Yahowah, Yahowah, your God, Elohim Otter, by walking in his ways, La Holak Bar Derek Hu, and also by observing, La Shema, these instructive conditions regarding what he has offered and is expecting in return, Mitswah, along with his clearly communicated and inscribed prescriptions, Sukah, and his means to make sound decisions, especially regarding the way to resolve disputes, Mishpat. This is so that you can make the choice to live, Chea, and decide to thrive, increasing in stature and capability while being empowered and enriched, Rabah. Yahowah, your God, Elohim Otter, wants to kneel down, diminishing an aspect of himself in love to favor and bless you, barak Otter, in the land, Vaha Erez, which, as a benefit of the relationship, Asher, you are returning there by name, Otter Bosham, receiving it as an inherited gift, La Yarashai. Dabarim, words 30:16. However, if your heart and thinking are turned away, Pana Libab Otter, and you do not listen, Lo Shama, and you are lured away, Nada, and of your own volition speak, writing explanations and making announcements, regarding bowing down in worship, Chorah, to other gods, La Elohim Acre, 446 and you actively engage with and serve them, Abadhem, Dabarim, words 30:17, I am reporting the following message, warning you of this verdict, Nagid La Otter, this day, Ha Yaum, that indeed, you will assuredly perish, having squandered your lives such that you cease to exist, Abad. Your days will not be prolonged, Lo Arak Yamim, upon the surface of the earth, Al-Ha Adama, which you are passing over, Asher Otter, the Jordan, Eth Ha Yarden, to return there and enter, La Bo Sham, as an heir, La Yarash. Dabarim, words 30:18. I am repeatedly testifying among you, continuing to bear witness to you regarding your future return and restoration, all to assist and sustain you, once again providing you with all of the consequences and contingencies, you bar atom, at this time, ha-yam, with regard to, eth, the spiritual realms of the heaven, ha-shamim, and with regard to, y-eth, the material realm of the earth, ha-eres, about life, about living and being nourished, remaining alive and flourishing, ha-chaim, and about death. The plague and pandemic disease which infects an entire population, Waha-Morth. I have provided as a gift and placed, Nathan, before you, La Pana'ota, the source of blessings which restore the relationship, Ha-Baraka, and also the curse of becoming irrelevant and considered worthless, diminished and no longer existing, Waha-Klala. So now, therefore, you should choose after a thoughtful examination and careful assessment, showing that you prefer, Basha, that which is associated with life, Bar-Ha-Chaim, so that, La-Mam, you, Otter, and your offspring, Zerah, may continually live and grow, Chea, Dabarim, words 30:19, by coming to love, La-Ehabeth, Yahowah, Yahowah, your God, Elohim Otter, by listening to, La Shama, 447 what he has to say, Bar Kal-Hu, and by remaining very close to him, while La Debak Bar-Hu. For indeed, Hu, is the source of your life, the very basis of your existence, Che-Otter, and of prolonging, Wa-Orik, your days, Yaum Otter, enabling you to abide, La Yashab, upon the land, Al-Ha-Adama, which, as a benefit of the relationship, Asher, Yahowah, promised, Shaba to your fathers, La Otter, to Abraham, La Abraham, to Yitzchak, La Yitzchak, and to Jacob, while La Jacob, offering this gift to them, La Nathan Lahem. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 30:20. The words Yahowah inspired Moses to share with us today are so enriching and empowering, so enlightening and liberating, so pertinent and compelling. Why would anyone in their right mind choose the contradictions of the Talmud and New Testament over these pearls? Recognizing that there were no chapter or verse divisions in the revealed text, the very next line reads, and, Moshe, one who draws out, finished, Kala, completed, from one koi while the mount says walked, speaking, Dabar, these words, Dabar ha-lay, to all, El-Shurl, Yisra'el, individuals who strive and struggle against God and those who engage and endure with God. Dabarim, words 31-1, and, the son of 120, Ben-Mia Wizrim, years, Shana, said, Amar to them, Elhem, at this time, Ha-Yaum, I am, Anoki, no longer able, Lo Yakol Od, I can no longer, to carry on, to bring out, La Yatsa, to lead out or to withdraw, 448 conducting an exodus, Kal infinitive, or to enter, La Bo, to arrive and be included, pursuing the return. So Yahowah, said to me, Amar Eleni, you are not going to be passing over, Lo Abar, you will not be crossing, Kal imperfect, that which is associated with the Yarden, being diminished, Eth ha-Yarden ha-Zeh, being let down by bowing down in subjugation, the Jordan River, from Yared, to be brought down and diminished, descending to a lower status by being taken down, oppressed, subdued, and cast down. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:2. It should be noted that while the Masoretic text reads Mos Holok, walked speaking these words, the 1,100-year-old one Khoi scroll found in Qumran, says Mos Kala, finished speaking these words, so that is why this passage was translated as such. To the political and religious publishers of the KJV, however, the Hebrew text didn't much matter, and Moses went and spake these words unto all Israel. And he said unto them, I am 120 years old this day, I can no more go out and come in, also the Lord hath said unto me, thou shalt not go over this Jordan. To appreciate what has been muddled, let's start at the beginning. The meaning underlying Moseh's name is always relevant, but especially so in this context. He was called to draw Yisrael out from Miraim, the crucibles of religious and political oppression. His name is synonymous with the Yatsa, Exodus he was leading as the great liberator. Recognizing this, Moseh's job was now Kala, complete. He had successfully Yatsa, withdrawn the people from human bondage, and he had delivered the Torah so that they would never have to go back, and that is why Kala was scribed rather than its inverse, Holok. 449 This was a job well done, mission accomplished. Never in the annals of human events had one man done so much for so many. His is the greatest life ever lived. The realization that Moses had finished speaking these words to Yisrael is to say that the Torah was complete. From this point, Moses would offer some instructions to Yahshua, and to the Lowy. And he is recorded singing a final song to his people followed by a benediction. While doing so, During their final, private meeting, Yahowah told Moses why he would not be accompanying Yisra'el on their descent upon crossing the Yarden. The Israelites that Moses had led away from religious oppression, Yahowah said, will rise up and prostitute themselves with foreign gods and forsake me, breaking my covenant which I conceived with them. Therefore, many evils and troubles will come upon them, and I will hide my presence from them because of all of the horrible things they have done by turning to other gods. Dabarim, words 31:16-18. Crossing the Yarden, being diminished, was prophetic of their decline. Israelites would Yarden Hazeh, let themselves and their God down by bowing down to other gods. As a result of being taken down the wrong path, they would be brought down and diminished, descending to a lower status. Moses knew better and deserved better. The affirmation of Moses' age is squandered on those without eyes to see. He had lived 3 distinctly different lives, each 40 years in duration, representing the completion of a time of testing and evaluation. The first was in the crucible of political and religious oppression, where he made the right decision, stood up against the oppressors on behalf of his people, and then walked away. The second was as a shepherd, leading, feeding, and protecting sheep in the wilderness. And he had just concluded the most extraordinary journey ever conducted, freeing his people from political and religious tyranny so 450 that they could enter the promised land equipped with the most valuable book ever written. In this way, humankind would endure 3 distinct 40-Yahweh intervals of time. The first began as we left the garden. It concluded with the covenant, which was conceived so that we could return. The second span of 40 Yahweh or 2,000 years, 40 by 50, commenced where it ended, on Mount Moriah, Revere Yeh, which was also highlighted in its midst as the site of Dowd's and Yahowah's home. This period, beginning in 1968 BCE and concluding in 33 CE, is clearly the most important. At the beginning, the Berith was cut with Abraham, with each condition and benefit delineated for our benefit. Thereafter, it was affirmed with Yitzhak and Yaakov. It was during these 2 millennia that the children of Yisrael were enslaved and liberated. This is when the Torah was revealed. It is when Dowd was chosen and anointed, becoming the Son of God, the Messiah and King, Yahowah's songwriter and shepherd. This is the time of the prophets, all of them, from Moses to Malachi. And at its conclusion in year 4000 year, 33 CE, Dowd fulfilled the first 4 Mikra, thereby enabling the benefits of the covenant. Other than a lot of people acting badly, from Jews to Romans, from Roman Catholics to Muslims, from Nazis to progressives, nothing of value has transpired since the mode were fulfilled. According to the prophet, no one, not a single solitary soul, came to know Yahowah or speak for him. But that has begun to change. With only 1 generation left before Yahowah's return on the Day of Reconciliations in year 6000 year, on October 2, 2033, Israel became a nation again and Jews began their long journey home. Then on Towrah in 2001, with just 32 years remaining, Yahowah asked someone across the sea to compose the Nez banner inscribed with the words of 451 his prophets to call his people back to him, reconciling the relationship. And that is why we were told that Moses was a son of 120 years. His mission was complete, but much of the story was yet to unfold. Hayam, at this time, Moses lo Yakolod, was no longer able to la Yatsa, serve as liberator, freeing his people. He had Yatsa, withdrawn them to the point furthest from what they had endured, the promised land. He had brought them home. So, there was no reason to carry on. The first Yatsa, Exodus, was over. He had herded the sheep to the fold. A new chapter was about to unfold, and Moses would not be part of this story as it would be dark and dreary. He would not labo, enter into the downfall of his people. 40 years had passed since Yahowah had ushered in the Mikra of Pesach using Obar, letting the people know that the Malach terminating the lives of the firstborn would pass over them. Therefore, Moses no doubt appreciated the symbolism of not Obar, passing over the Yarden, that which diminishes. Moses would not be among those Yarden, being let down or brought down by bowing down. His status would not be diminished. Moses wasn't being punished for having struck a stone rather than using his words to cure the people's thirst. He had fulfilled his mission, and now Yahowah was protecting and honoring him. This next statement seems to suggest that Yahowah will honor the promise of Passover so that we might live. Similarly, while the firstborn of the children of Israel were passed over, the sons of those who had persecuted them were taken. Yahowah, Yahowah, written as directed by his Torah, teaching, your God, Elohim Otter, Hu, 452 will pass over, Obar, he will genuinely and demonstrably pass over, thereby advancing Pesach, scribed in the Kal relational stem, affirming that this promise represents something which will actually occur, and in the participle form, which paints a vivid portrait of the action associated with passing over, with this one word serving as an adjective, noun, and verb, in your presence, la pana otter. for you to appear face to face and be present, preparing, transforming, and changing you. He, himself, will overthrow and decimate, Shuwb, he will pursue to the point of extinction, destroying and exterminating, hyphal imperfect, these particular Goim, people of different ethnicities and cultures, eth ha Goim ha'alei, the Gentile nations and animalistic populations or heathens, out of your presence, min la panata, before your appearance, so that you inherit what they possess, YYV2C7, dispossessing them by replacing them. Yahusha, Joshua, Yahusha, Yahowah liberates, delivers and saves, a compound of Yahowah and Yasha, deliverance and salvation. He, Hu, will genuinely and demonstrably serve to cross over, Obar, he will actually and literally, explicitly and dramatically be passing over, Tal participle, appearing in your presence, La Panata, before you to facilitate your approach, representing the word as spoken by Yahowah, Ka Asher Bar Yahowah, consistent with Yahowah's words regarding the proper path to walk to receive the benefits of the relationship. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:3. This is precisely what Yahowah promised Abraham and Yitzchak on Mount Moriah 12 years shy of 4,000 years ago. He would provide the lamb on Pesach. It is just that on this day, no one knew how he would fulfill Passover, unyeasted bread, and firstborn children, perfecting his now immortal children. Now we do, by 453 working with his son. Enabling the covenant would be a family affair. This is the stark reality the world has missed these past 2,000 years. Dowd, David was the Passover lamb in addition to being the Son of God and the Messiah. By fulfilling Pesach, those of us who rely upon Yahowah will live forevermore. Eternal life is the initial benefit of the covenant. Unfortunately, however, trying to hide their blindness while also despising Dowd, rabbis have robbed Jews of him serving as the Pesach El. With this promise so prominently displayed in the Torah, it's inexcusable that both Christians and Jews have squandered the intent of this profoundly important prophecy. Likewise, for Jews to deny Dowd, and to ignore his fulfillment of Pesach, is condemnable. So many lives have been squandered needlessly. With the impending return of his people, Yahowah must remove religion and politics from the promised land. He will not allow Yisra'el to coexist with any of the gods conceived by man. And while this may sound harsh, there is but one way to remove all traces of religious poison, and that is to remove its host. Therefore, Yahowah, will do to them, Asar Lahem, will act toward them, Kal Wekatal perfect, exactly what he did with, Ka Asher Asar, consistent with the manner he engaged regarding, Sukah, the warrior who wipes away, Sukah, a vicious Amorite king who bore the name of his warrior god who attacked Yisrael rather than allowing them to transit through the Moabite territory he had conquered, and Og, round like a cake, Wala Og, the feared Amorite king of Bashan who attacked the Israelites and lost everything. The kings, Melikim, of the Big talkers, speaks a lot, from 454 plural of Amar, to say, along with their land, Wala Ereshem, when, to show the proper way, Asher, he destroyed and decimated them, Shamidethem, he exterminated them to the point of their extinction. Dabarim, words 31-4. Then, Yahowah, Yahowah, will offer them to you, turning them over upon your appearance, Nathan Hem La Pana Atom, from forked oi where you is plural. And you shall act toward them, Wasalahem, in a manner which is consistent with, Ka, all of the conditions pertaining to the relationship, Shel ha-Mitswah, each of the expectations which comprise the precepts of what has been established, from my, to consider the who, what, why, where, when, and how of Zarowa, appointing and establishing, constituting the message, and enjoining by shouting out instructions and directions regarding what has been commissioned, which, to convey the benefits of the relationship. Asher, which, to show the proper path to walk to get the most enjoyment out of life, I have instructed you, providing directions for you, Zarowa Ethota, I have appointed and established for you, calling these terms and conditions out to you, along with what is being offered and expected in return. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:5. God is not a passive recluse. He is neither the God of wimps nor the world's savior. He is personally familiar with triumph and with tragedy. And he knows what it is like to engage, to love, to fight, and most importantly to have the courage and fortitude to stand up and be counted, no matter the cost or pain. Yahowah wants us to know that a two-state solution is unacceptable. This proclamation uses history to forecast future events, a time when God will exterminate those who have pestered his people. 455 Just as Sukah had conquered the land of the Moabites and then rebuffed a treaty which would have allowed the Israelites to transit through the territory he had stolen, today's Fakestinians will soon discover that Allah is not Akbar and that terrorism is not appreciated. These pests will be exterminated so that Yisrael is finally safe and secure. As was the case with the Emery, big talkers, their political and religious jargon will never be heard again. As he had done in the long-distant past, Yahowah will encourage and then empower his people to prevail. The fate of those who wrongly claim and occupy the promised land will be in the hands of those to whom it was given, and they will respond in a manner which is consistent with the Torah's Mitswah, instructive conditions and authorized directions. There will be no negotiations, no compromise, and no political accommodations. The meek will not inherit the earth. And terrorism will not prevail. Prevail by choosing to be strong and steadfast, chazaq, succeed by being resolute and overpowering, both firm and intense, seizing the moment by being intrepid, imperative, especially, courageous and uncompromising, amits, growing ever more determined to acknowledge your elevated status, reinforced by being alert, bold and brave, unrelenting and persistent, assured of your success. You should never be intimidated or show any respect, you should not be frightened or be afraid, never live in fear, and you should not be awed or astonished by anyone, imperfect Joseph. This advice to be fearless should be interpreted literally, seen as enduring, and is subject to free will. You should never be terrified, terrorized, or oppressed, do not allow terrorism to prevail 456 or anyone to harass you, also scribed in the imperfect Joseph, affirming that this request is genuine and enduring, that it is a decision from which we should never waver, by their presence, min panahem, as a result of their appearance, because indeed, Yahowah, God's name transliterated as guided by his Torah, instructions on his higher existence, your God, Elohim Otter, he, you, will be walking with you, Ha-Holakim Otter, will be going alongside, traveling step by step beside you, participle. He will not abandon you by choice, Lo Rapha Otter, he will not choose to desert you, release you, or withdraw from you, and it is not his desire to leave you alone or allow you to falter. Imperfect Joseph, it is Yahowah's will to support and accompany you, consistently working through you to encourage you, and he will not eternally forsake or completely reject you, Lo Azab Otter, he will not leave you or release you forever, he will not continually sever his relationship with you or neglect you. Imperfect Energic None. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:6. This is the antithesis of the beatitude attributed to the Christian Jesus. It is not the meek who will inherit the earth but, instead, the chazaq, the strong and steadfast, the resolutely overpowering and intensely intrepid. It is also the converse of what we witness among the overly feminized Hasidic who won't lift a slender finger to defend Yisra'el from terrorists. And yet, by contrast, Yahowah's mighty Zarowa, productive shepherd and protective ram, Moseh and Dowd, are dripping with chazaq. God clearly has an affinity for amits, courageous and uncompromising men. Created in God's image, we should act more like him. However, apart from destroying Israel's enemies under Yahowah's explicit instructions to ensure the 457 security of his people and the promised land, God is not asking anyone to pick up arms or march off to war. But if we are Yisraelites in Yisrael, and acting in accordance with the Torah, we ought not seek to accommodate or pacify those who would otherwise annihilate us. In other words, if you are part of Yahowah's covenant family and guided by his Torah, you have the right and responsibility to protect your family and your home. The terrorists masquerading as Palestinians do not belong in Yahowah's land. It is for Yisrael, Yahweh, and the covenant family. Terrorism prevails as a political and religious tactic because it is intimidating. It is how the North won the Civil War with Sherman's March to the Sea. It is how the US prevailed over Imperial Japan, firebombing towns and cities. But it is immoral. Yahowah does not want his people to fear this terrible tactic or respect those who pay for slay. Traumatizing civilians has been Islam's legacy, a tactic repeatedly encouraged throughout the Quran. On a different front, the Black Lives Matter slogan, no justice, no peace, is a veiled threat to terrorize those who do not support their absurd conspiracy. Machiavelli's advice to the Italian popes was similar, as he encouraged the leadership of the Roman Catholic Church to terrorize Europe into submission. If anyone was entitled to a phobia, after having composed Tea with Terrorists, Prophet of Doom, questioning Paul, Babel, and Yada Yahowah, exposing and condemning mankind's most popular and revered religions, politics, and conspiracies, it would be me. But, thanks to Yah, I have no fear, no anxiety of any kind. God walks with those he has chosen to walk with him. And now we know how he calls the potential candidates. 458 Once covenant, always covenant. But beyond this, it is obvious that Yahowah's affinity for Yisrael has never wavered. God just obliterated the basis of Christianity and Islam. Yahowah will never abandon Yisrael. This is clearly not the all-loving, tolerant, accepting, passive, compromising, and all-inclusive, Gentile-preferring God of Christianity. And he is not the Jew-hating God of Islam either. But, to his credit, this God is real. And he is loyal, a trait once respected in people. I'll bet I've been told 1,000 times that my bold, judgmental style and my uncompromising approach are inconsistent with the example set by Jesus. And while that may be true based on this myth, this is precisely how Yahowah wants us to act. When we are firm, confident, steadfast, and secure, when we are alert, resolute, and courageous, we can face God and not be intimidated by him. You see, the real God is all of these things, and so those who share these traits will feel especially comfortable around him. Unless he is abusive, you do not fear your earthly father. So, since he is compassionate and supportive, why on earth would you fear your heavenly Father? Isn't God better than any man? If God wanted us to fear him, why would he create and facilitate a familial covenant relationship? If he wanted us to quiver in his presence and bow down before him in awe, why would he ask us to walk to him and then walk with him? If fear were the objective, why does the path to him culminate in reconciliations and shelters? Along these lines, since halak, walk was written as a participle, we know that this is something Yahowah both does and is. To walk with God is to be with God. And to be with God is to never fear anyone. 459 God is many things, but chief among them is that he is steadfast. He isn't about to waver, change, falter, relent, or fail. He is not going to slack off or let go. He is reliable. And that is why it is essential that we come to know what he revealed in his Torah, because the terms and conditions presented therein are never going to be revised. It is a shame that Jews, Christians and Muslims have conceived gods so different from the one who authored the Torah. Quite frankly, theirs aren't worth knowing. They are without character or conscience. They aren't honest or reliable. They are neither consistent nor steadfast. The religious gods are an amalgamation of anthropomorphisms and contradictions. As for me, I prefer the one we are coming to know. I rather like him. There are times such as these when conjugations and moods are essential. Moseh's concluding phrase was rendered as he will not abandon you by choice and he will not always forsake or completely reject you. This is because the jussive mood conveys third-person volition, and the imperfect conjugation paired with the energic nun describes something that, when negated, is no longer emphatic, continuous, or ongoing. God did not choose to desert his people or withdraw from them. They are responsible for what occurred. However, a day of reconciliation is coming, and it will be emphatic. While he is continuing to address his successor, Yahushua ben Nun, there is a prophetic undercurrent here. Then, Moshe, the one who draws out, summoned, calling out, Kara, he invited and welcomed, called upon and proclaimed, met with and announced, to Yahushua, Yahowah liberates and saves, originally scribed, a compound of Yahowah and Yasha, to deliver and save. 460 He said to him, Amar Elhu, before the eyes La Ain, before the appearance and from the perspective of all, Shurl, of everything that is, Yisra'el, individuals who engage and endure with God, succeed by being resolute and overpowering, both firm and intense, seizing the moment by being intrepid, chazaq, prevail by choosing to be strong and steadfast, kal imperative, especially, courageous and uncompromising, amitz, growing ever more determined to acknowledge your elevated status, reinforced by being alert, bold and brave, unrelenting and persistent, assured of your success. For indeed, this is trustworthy and reliable, you, Otter, yourself, will go with the people, Boeth Ham Hazeh, you will come and be included, entering with the family, to this land, El Ha Eres, which, to show the way to the benefits of the relationship, Asher, Yahowah, a transliteration of Yahowah as instructed in his Torah, teaching, promised, Shabat, swore a binding oath on the basis of 7 and the Shabat, their fathers, La Vihem, to give to them, La Nathan Lahem, to offer as a gift for them. Now, you, Otter, yourself, will bestow it to them as an inheritance, Nakal Hayethem, you will provide it to them, transferring it from an authorized person and parent to a child in accordance with the standard. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:7. Yahowah chooses men and women who exhibit the character and qualities he prefers. They are tenacious and unwavering, passionate and courageous. They are bold, not meek or timid, even to the point of being overpowering at times. They are committed to the mission, and neither shrink nor waver from it. Like the God who selected them and is now inspiring them, they are uncompromising and unrelenting. 461 The reason Moses shared these traits with us is because he knows that when we embody them, God can use us. Ultimately, the size and quality of the covenant family will reflect the character and courage of those deployed calling Yisrael home. Since Yahweh's message has remained consistent and available for the past 3,500 years, the only variables are the overwhelming and unwavering tenacity behind its current delivery and Yisrael's newfound willingness to listen. Yahweh is offering to embolden the man committed to walking with him, supporting his chosen leader such that he remains courageous in the defense of Yisrael. He also realizes that fear is crippling, even paralyzing. So, to achieve our designed purpose, we must rise above this limitation. He, Yahweh, the pronunciation of Yahowah, will be walking, ha-holok, will go, traveling, kal participle, alongside your presence, la panaota, in front of you and beside you, appearing with you. He, himself, will actually and always exist, higher he was, is and forever will be, kal imperfect, actually, relationally, and continually, with you, in association with you. He will never withdraw from you or allow you to falter, lo rafata, he will never desert you, release you, or renounce you, he will not leave you alone or allow you to fail, hyphal imperfect jussive, it is Yahweh's will to support and accompany us, consistently working through us to encourage us, and he will never abandon or reject you, lo azabota, he will not leave you or release you, he will not sever his relationship with you or neglect you, kal imperfect energic none. You will not be intimidated, lo you will never fear, be frightened or anxious, kal imperfect. And, you will never be dismayed or discouraged, 462 confounded or confused, lo chatteth, you will not be broken, you will not bow down nor be disheartened, you will neither fail nor be destroyed, nephil imperfect. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:8. Yahweh would walk with Yahshua into the promised land. God and his designee would work side by side in the defense of Yisrael. The Almighty had prepared this man for this moment and now he would capitalize upon the courage and character of this remarkable individual. Additionally, Moses was speaking to Yisrael through Yahshua, encouraging his people to be like his successor. As such, Yahshua ben Nun is representative of the exemplar we should follow. Along with life and liberty, the Torah is God's greatest gift. And so therefore, Moshe, one who withdraws, wrote, katab, inscribed by making a permanent written copy, indelibly engraving, kal imperfect, literally and forevermore, this, the one and only, Torah, Torah ha-joth, this, the source of teaching and guidance, the place from which instructions and directions flow, upon a scroll, al-sefer, on the inscribed document designed to recount, relate, declare, and communicate, from forked oy because this phrase is omitted in the Masoretic text. Then, he gave it as a gift to, Nathan Hiel, and he bestowed it as the Almighty's present to, the priests, kohen, those ministering and serving on behalf of, the sons, of Lowy, those who attend to and engage in the process of uniting, errantly transliterated Levites, from Lower, to join by attending to, those lifting up, Harnasa, those carrying and bearing, kal participle, Yahweh, the proper pronunciation of Yahowah, our Eloah, God as directed in his Torah 463. Teaching regarding his existence and our shalom, restoration, ark, Aaron, chest for gathering that which is valuable, of the covenant, berith, of the family-oriented relationship agreement, and to all, shurl, of the elders, zakan, seasoned citizens of Yisrael, to engage and endure with God, a compound of ish individuals, who strive and contend or engage and endure with God. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:9. The Torah is our introduction to God. It includes Yahweh's instructions and teaching, his guidance and directions on how to survive our mortal existence and participate in the covenant. It is for those who strive to engage and endure with God. This one and only Torah was written, not oral. It was offered to the Kohen and Lowy, who were lifting up and carrying the Ark of the Covenant, and to the elders of Yisrael. There was no oral Torah and there were no rabbis to receive that which did not exist. They are not mentioned in this story, or anywhere else, at least not favorably, which is why they wrote themselves into their own Torah. But in the process, they wrote Yahweh out of their lives. This connection between the Torah and the Ark of the Covenant is exceedingly important. Replete with its kaporith, means to reconciliation, the Ark of the Covenant plays an essential role in our approach to God. In this next divine teaching, we find Yahweh reinforcing the relevance of Shabat 7. It is the common denominator in God's plans. It is symbolic of his sworn oath and promise to honor the terms and conditions of the covenant and to Shemitah, release us from our debts, freeing us to Sukah, camp out with him as a result of his Shabat 7-step plan of salvation which culminates with the mode, eternal and restoring 464 witness to the appointed meetings, leading to Sukah. And, Moshe, one who draws out, provided instruction, Zarowa, he was appointed to offer directions and delineate guidance regarding what is being offered and expected in return, for them, ethem, saying, Lama, at the conclusion of, Minkes, from the end and final of, 7, Sheba, affirming the sworn promise, years, Shana, times of renewal and restoration, during, Bar, with, the eternal witnesses to the appointed meeting times, Mode. The restoring testimony regarding the appointments, specifically scheduled to celebrate something designated by the authority, of the year, Shana, and time of renewal and restoration, of freeing slaves and releasing debtors from all of their obligations, Shemitah, of emancipation and of cancelling debts, of being freed of obligations and experiencing liberation, during the Chag, festival feast, Bar Chag, celebratory party, of Sukah, shelters, HaSukah, of protective coverings of tabernacles, of dwelling in tents, and of camping out, Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:10. We are being invited to commemorate our freedom, our complete liberation from the religious and political ills of man. Even more, with this invitation, we are afforded the opportunity to Sukah, camp out with Yahowah and Chag, celebrate our inclusion into his family. Welcome home. If you want to meet God, if you want to celebrate life with him, if you want to be freed and exonerated by him, then you are now aware that we must follow the path prescribed in the Mode, eternal witnesses to the appointed meeting times. These invitations to meet with God are emancipating, liberating us from the stigma of religious and political corruptions. And while there are 6 steps along the way, our journey from man to God 465 concludes during Sukah, where we camp out with our Heavenly Father for 8 days. Yahowah's timeline is instructive, providing the bearings to where we are headed as well as the instructions on how we are going to get from here to there. By listening and responding, our debts are forgiven, and we are released from the control and influence of man. This enables us to party with our Father, camping out with God forevermore. However, by choosing to ignore his schedule, humankind becomes lost, stumbling in the wrong direction as a consequence of religious counterfeits and substitutions replacing Yahowah's instructions. This is why it is counterproductive to replace any of Yahowah's 7 mode with religious or political holidays. The first letter in Sukah is a sin, which is called a samek today. Its graphic symbol was depicted as a sign pointing us in the right direction. In this case, it provides notification that we have arrived at the campsite adjacent to God's home. The second letter in Sukah, a kaf, is presented by way of the open palm of an outstretched hand. It speaks of opening the way and of allowing something to happen. The open hand encourages us to approach, letting us know that we are welcome. The third and final letter composing Sukah is also the last character in Yahowah's name, the only repeated letter in his name, Hey. It is drawn to depict a person standing up, reaching up, and looking up to God. It conveys the ideas of being observant and reaching out to receive God's support and assistance, even of standing in his presence while grasping his hand and walking with him. Sukah, shelters. Graphically, presents God pointing us in the right direction so that, after reading this sign, we are welcomed into his company. It reveals that E466 will greet us warmly. Those who capitalize, are on their feet, eager to stand and walk with God, reaching out to our Father. With, Bar, when, the arrival, Wo, the pursuit, return, coming, and inclusion, Kal infinitive, of all, Shurl, Yisra'el, individuals who engage and endure with God, Yisra'el, appearing, Ra, looking upon, considering, perceiving, observing, and gaining perspective, Nephil infinitive, Yisra'el perceives by being especially observant, before the presence of, Ethpana, Yahowah, Yahowah, as directed in his Torah, teaching regarding his higher, existence, your God, Elohim Otter, in the place, Baha Makam, within the home, dwelling place and source, which, for the benefit of the relationship, Asher, he has actually and consistently chosen, Basher, he genuinely desires and continually prefers, he has selected for you to examine and prove the authenticity of his message, Kal imperfect, for you to encounter, read, and recite, Kara, for you to continually proclaim and literally announce, welcome. And greet, Kal imperfect, you is plural in forktoi and singular in the mount, this Torah, Eth Torah Joth, these instructions and teachings, this source of guidance and direction, in the presence of, nedged, facing and in full view of, publicly and conspicuously before, all, Shurl, Yisra'el, individuals who engage and endure with God, so that they will hear it, Bar Anhem, such that they can listen with their ears. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:11. Yahowah has invited us to attend 7 annual meetings, the first 6 of which direct us to Sukah where we appear before God. His preference is for this to occur on Mount Moriah, in Yerushalayim, Yehuda, Yisrael. But if not there, then at least symbolically within our hearts. And ultimately, every covenant member will come to Moriah to celebrate our relationship with Yahowah and with one another. We will all be there 467 witnessing Yahweh's return with Dowd on October 2, 2033. On this day, consistent with every mode, we benefit from reciting passages like this one from the Torah. The book Moseh scribed is filled with Yahweh's teaching and guidance. And especially as we approach Yahweh's return, his call for his people to come home becomes especially urgent. Fortunately, based on what Moseh has revealed, Yisra'el is finally ready to listen. If you want to hear what God has to say to you, if you want him to direct your life, if you want to know what he wants you to do, then listen to what he has to say by reading and reciting his Torah. Gather and assemble, kahal, choose to summon and call out to, bringing together, hyphal imperative, the family, eth-ha-am, the people who are related, the men, ha-ish, the women, wa-ha-isha, and the children, wa-ha-tap, the little ones, along with those among you from different ethnicities, wa-jer-otter, your foreigners from other localities, who, as a result of the relationship, Asher, are within your gates, Bashar-otter, inside the doorways of your homes, meeting places and communities, so that, Laman, for the express reason that, they will actually and continually hear, Shama, they may genuinely and literally listen, Kal imperfect, and so that, Laman, and for the reason that, they will learn and be properly guided, Lamed, they will be consistently instructed and actually taught, Kal imperfect. And so, then, they will revere and respect, Eth, they will consistently choose to show their admiration for, Kal Wekatal perfect, Yahowah, the proper pronunciation of Yahowah, our Eloah, God as directed in his Torah, teaching regarding his existence and our Shalom, restoration, their 468 God, Elohim Hem, from Forktoi versus your God in the mount. Then, they will be observant, Shema, they will, of their own volition, closely examine and carefully consider, Kal Wekatal perfect, thereby actively engaging in and demonstrably acting upon, La-Sa, dramatically profiting from, Kal infinitive, all, Eth-Shirl, of the words, Debar, of the Torah, source of teaching and guidance, Ha-Torah Ha-Joth, this instruction and direction. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:12. The covenant is a family affair. It is comprised of men, women, and children of all ages. It includes both Israelites and those of different ethnicities who demonstrate their affinity for Yahweh's instructions and people. By reciting the Torah, we learn and are properly guided. As a result, the observant come to respect Yahweh and act upon God's teaching. We engage with him in accordance with his Torah's directions. The path to God is not complicated. While nothing more needs to be said, God said more because he cares more about our children than we do. So then, their children, Ben-Hem, who are unaware, and who do not know or understand, Asher lo Yada, who do not recognize or acknowledge and who are unfamiliar, Kal perfect, will listen, Shama, they hear, Kal imperfect, and learn, lamed, and will receive the information needed to be properly instructed, approaching by respecting, Eth, to draw near by admiring and revering, Kal infinitive, Yahowah, written as directed by his Torah, teaching, your God, Elohim Atom, each and every day. Shel ha-Yam, which, while within the relationship, Asher you live, Atom Chaim, you are alive, upon the earth in the material realm, Al-Ha-Dama, upon the ground, 469 which, beneficially, Asher, you, Otter, will pass over, Atomobar, you will cross over, Kal participle, that which is associated with the Yarden, being diminished, Eth-Ha-Yarden Sham, being let down in that place by bowing down in subjugation. The Jordan River, from Yared, to be brought down and diminished, descending to a lower status by being taken down, oppressed, subdued, and cast down, as an inheritance, becoming an heir to this, La Yarashai. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:13. After 3,440 years and 150 generations, the children of Yisrael for so long lo Yada, unaware would finally Shama while lamed, listen and learn. After 3 millennia of ignoring and rejecting Yahweh, Yahweh would come home, approaching God respectfully and by name. Two of the gifts we inherit as a result of the covenant are eternal and perfected lives. This reality is symbolically portrayed by Obar, passing over Eth-Ha-Yarden, the possibility of being diminished and cast down. Often, the meaning behind a name is vastly more important than simply transliterating the sounds correctly. In an effort to explain why Yahweh spared Moses the frustration of having to witness the degradation of the people he had rescued and equipped for success, we considered Dabarim, words 31:16-18 earlier in this chapter. During their final meeting, Yahweh told Moses that the Israelites he had led away from religious oppression would stumble and fall. Yahowah, said, Amar, to Moses, El Moshe, behold, Hine, here and now, you will rest, Otter Shakab, you will lie down and relax, with your fathers, Imabai Otter. Then, these people, Wahan Hazeh, will rise up, will take a stand to establish themselves in opposition, and prostitute themselves, Wazana, and be 470 unfaithful, becoming despicable and loathsome, chasing after, Achar, following without hesitation from then to the end, foreign gods, Elohim Nekar, of the region, Ha-Erez, which they are entering, Asher Hubo Sham. With them in their midst, Kireb Hu, they will choose to consistently forsake me, Wa Azab Eni, they will reject and abandon me, severing all association with me, deserting me, Kalwekatal perfect, plural they in forked oi and singular he in the Masoretic text. And they will violate and nullify, Wa Para Eth, they will choose to continually thwart, frustrate, and break, Hyphal Wekatal perfect, plural they in forked oi and singular he in the Masoretic text, my covenant, Barith Eni, my family-oriented relationship agreement, which, to convey the benefits of the relationship and to get the most out of life, Asher, I conceived and cut with them, Karath Eth Hu, I established with them through separation, Kal perfect. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:16. Yahweh did not want Moses' legacy sullied by the bad behavior of his people, which is why he was given a guided tour of the promised land without having to endure the consequence. Also interesting, the text actually reveals that Moses went into retirement, resting and relaxing with his fathers. It does not infer that he was buried with them because the tomb of the patriarchs is in Hebron, Yisra'el, not Jordan. The use of rise up is intriguing because it insinuates that Israelites would rise up in rebellion against God, placing themselves, and particularly rabbis, over the Almighty, and Zana affirms that they would sell their soul for a shekel. The God of Judaism, the Talmud and Zohar, is modeled after the gods worshipped in Canaan, Babylon, and Egypt, as well as in Greece and Rome. Yahweh is 471 nowhere to be found in the Jewish religion, a fact which God was keenly aware. He predicted that Jews would reject and abandon him, severing all association with the only real God to worship a religious construct, and by doing so, Jews nullified their special place in the covenant, forfeiting their inheritance. Then, my resentment, if any, my frustration, displeasure, and anger, will be aroused, Cherah, will burn and become inflamed, against them, Hu, during that time, Hu. So I will forsake them, Azabhem, I will reject them, severing my relationship with them, releasing them, and I will hide, Satar, so I will conceal, my presence, Pana Eni, my appearance, from them, Minhem. Therefore, they will be, higher, devoured, La Kal. And, many terrible things including the wrongdoing of the rabbis, Rab, great suffering and tremendous misfortune, will find them, Matzahu, will encounter them. Then, because of these troubles and resulting anxiety, Wazara, anguished and emotionally distraught and dysregulated, besieged, confined, and afflicted during the tribulation, they will say, Amar, they will claim, forked oi is plural, while the mount is singular, at that time, Hu, is this not because surely the Almighty, Lo Lky, is an interrogatory posing a rhetorical question which begs a negative response, Lo negates al which is either Almighty God or upon and over. And Ky can be rendered because, indeed, or surely, Yahweh. Corrected to reflect forked oi because Yahweh's name was excluded from the question in the Masoretic text, is not with us, Ein bar kireb eni, is not anywhere near us, forked oi does not support the Masoretic text's incongruous substitution of my God. Thereby explaining why we are experiencing, Matzah 472 eni, these evil associations and this perverse misery, ha-ra-ha-lay, such horrible circumstances and misfortune, much of which is from our own countrymen. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:17. While Yahweh detests Christianity and Islam, Marxism and humanism, each for lying about him while abusing his people, most of all, God resents Judaism. As a result of the religion, Yahweh has relinquished his special relationship with his people, putting it on pause for thousands of years, during which time he has concealed his presence from Yisrael and Yahudah. Disappearing from view was in God's interests as well as the people's. Had he not done so, his frustration and antipathy would have been stoked to the point of irreconcilable animosity, and had Jews not been blinded, their putrid forsaken religion would have been more difficult to disprove, making it harder to reconcile the relationship today. Without Yahweh's protection, Israelites were devoured by the Assyrians and Yahudah were ransacked by the Babylonians and then the Romans. The remnant of both would then be besieged and tormented by Christians, Muslims, and Nazis. The final four of these invaders and mass murderers came during the period of rabbinical influence and after Yahweh had been completely removed from the lives of his people. As mentioned previously, Zara is more than just the Hebrew word for trouble. It is used to describe being confined and attacked during the last days, a period of tribulation known as the time of Jacob's troubles, during which Jews will be victimized by a whirlpool of rising tides and conflicting currents, with religious, political, and conspiratorial foes vying for their demise. As was the case during the pogroms and Holocaust, such 473 constant, pervasive, and severe abuse leads to dysregulated emotions, with the victims lashing out at everyone, from perpetrators to bystanders, from the involved to uninvolved, including God. And that brings us to the question which ultimately ignited Yahweh's righteous indignation. As an interrogatory, Ha frames a rhetorical question for which a negative response is expected. It is first used in Bersith, Genesis 4:9, with Cain attempting to shirk responsibility for having murdered his brother, Abel. Responding to Yahweh's question regarding Abel's whereabouts, Cain lied and then offered a flippant, "I do not know, lo yada. Am I supposed to watch my brother, Shema ach eni anoki, was I supposed to focus upon and observe my brother?" While Cain was trying to deflect attention from himself so as to avoid responsibility, the most thoughtful answer is yes, you should have paid attention to your brother. By observing your brother's offering rather than insisting upon your own, he'd be alive, and you wouldn't be a murderer. But that lesson was lost on Cain, just as the rabbis fail to accept their complicity in the anguish they and their religion inflict upon Jews. The religious leaders, who removed Yahweh and his name from the lives of his people, are now saying that forsaking Yahweh and his name had nothing to do with the people's suffering. They are not only shirking their responsibility, but they are also mocking God, suggesting that he is powerless to stop the assault. They are on their own, and that is the way the rabbis want it. Furthermore, by their Keynesian response, the rabbis left Yahweh with no other alternative than to deploy a Gawi in pursuit of his people. Is this not because surely the Almighty, Lky, Yahweh, is not with or among us, Ein Bakir Ebeni, thereby 474 explaining why we are experiencing, Matzah Eni, these evil associations and this perverse misery, much of which is from our own countrymen, Ha-ra-ha-lay. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:17. There are 4 reasons why this rhetorical question is errantly translated in every English Bible. First, publishers seldom bother to correct the text to reflect the 2,200-year-old scrolls found above Qumran and remove God or to include Yahweh's name, and this rhetorical question is rendered senseless without doing both. Second, religious publishers are complicit in this crime. They have no interest in holding Jews responsible for removing Yahweh and his name from the lives of his people. Third, translators recognize that Ha is an interrogatory, but without striving to understand why it was used both here and in Cain's response, they miss the entire point. And fourth, they are unwilling to acknowledge that the entity being negated by Lo is Almighty God. The most glaring example of this, of course, is the systematic removal of Yahweh and his name from his people through religious mandates and writings. But it is evident elsewhere. Consider the Star of David on Jewish religious texts and the flag of Israel. As we have stated, there is no star associated with Yahowah or Dowd in the Torah or prophets. This pagan symbol was initially Judaized and justified during the 13th century CE in Spain through the mysticism of the Zohar with Kabbalah, recognizing that they borrowed it from Judaism's Messiah, Bar Kokhba. It was then purloined by the Roman Catholic Church, and later by the Nazis, to isolate and denigrate Jews. Having seen it worn to their death by their brethren, surviving Jews became Stockholm children. They identified with their abusers by choosing their symbols 475 over those of their God, and not just for their religion but, also, for their country and ethnicity. When it was open to a design contest and vote, with considerable rabbinical persuasion, the sign and stigma of the worst man had to offer was chosen over Yahweh's preferred symbol, the menorah. And even in this, the rabbis have recreated their own menorah with theirs upping God with 9 candles rather than 7. It is then deployed to celebrate Hanukkah, which is symbolic of man's rise to power over Yahweh's preference for his Torah to be carried and explained by the Lowy and kohen. God is not amused. Therefore, Anoki, will conceal my presence such that I can no longer be known, Satar Pana Eni, my persona will be absent and my appearance will be hidden, as I become undetectable, infinitive imperfect, Yahweh will cause the people to disappear from his presence in a highly demonstrable and enduring manner, during this time, from being among all of the evil, Al-Shul Ha-Ra, as a result of all of the wickedness and depravity, the wrongdoing and harmful schemes, which they have perpetrated, Asher Asar, which they have done, engaging in and acting upon, Cal perfect, because indeed, KY, for the express reason, they have turned to and prepared, Pana El, they have turned their attention to, Cal perfect, other gods, Elohim Achar, subsequent deities, following after different gods without hesitation, especially during the last days. Dabarim, words, Dabarim 31:18. A rabbi, therefore, would be lying when claiming to speak for the God of the Torah, for the God of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Jacob. He would have no way of knowing 476 Yahowah. God has concealed his presence from the religious. Yahowah is not the HaShem or Adonai of the Babylonian Talmud or Zohar. If Judaism is your religion, Yahowah is not your God. What follows is very hard to read. Just 40 years had passed since Yahowah had saved Yisra'el from conditions only slightly more humane than the Holocaust. And yet, his people had become so unethical and belligerent, so ungrateful and disrespectful, dare I say, so religious. God asked Moses to compose a song to condemn them, to excoriate Judaism. The lyrics of this song address the anguish which befell Israelites and Yahweh during the Assyrian and Babylonian conquests and, especially, during the brutality of Rome's 3 sieges of the Promised Land. These lyrics sing of the Jewish people's persecution under the Roman Catholic Church, under the dark and deadly cloud of Islam, and under the vicious hands of Europeans and Nazis. There are echoes of the Holocaust and pogroms in these lyrics. They are haunting because they also convey Yahowah's response and explain the reason he was silent and inactive. So, while Jews will protest that their religion is based upon the Torah, in actuality, therein it is undermined. Now, therefore, Wa Otter, write, Katab, the words, Ha Dabarim, the message, from forked oi because this is excluded from the Masoretic text, on how to approach the lyrics of this song for your own benefit, La Hemeth Ha Shira Ha Joth, and teach it, Wa Lamed Hai, to the children of Yisrael, Eth Beni Yisrael. Place it in their mouths, Sim Hai Bar Pehem, so that this song will exist for me, La Man Hai La Eni Ha Shira Ha Joth, as an enduring witness, La Ed, against 477 the children of Yisrael, Bar Beni Yisrael. Dabarim, words 31:19. Indeed, when I brought them, Kybo into the land, Bahar Armor, that, for the benefit of the relationship, Asher, I promised to their fathers, Shabolah by Hu, it was flowing with milk and honey, Zu Shalab wa Dabash. And so, once they have eaten and become satisfied and satiated, Wa Kal wa Shaba, prospering and thriving, Wa Dashan, then they will produce, turn to, and pursue other gods, Wa Pana El Elohim, and serve them, Wa Badhem, while coming to spurn, reject, and despise me, Wa Nats Eni. They will also thwart and then break, Wa Parah, my covenant, Eth Barith Eni. Dabarim, words 31:20. So when it comes to pass, Wa Hayaky, that they encounter and experience, Matzah, the most perverse and immoral calamities, the worst perpetrated by the rabbis, Eth Hurah Rab, along with these unfortunate and vexing circumstances during anguishing times of tribulation, Wa Zara, then the response, Wa Anna, will be the lyrics of this song, Ha Shira Ha Joth, in their presence, La Panahu, as an enduring witness, La Ed. Indeed, Ky, it will not be ignored or forgotten, Lo Shakik, because of the speeches, Min Pei, they have sown, Zerahu. For I know, Ky Yada, what they are inclined to do, Eth Yetzahu Ashahu Asar, at this time, Ha Yaum, even before, Bar Terim, I have brought them into, Bohu Ha, the promised land, Ha Eres Asher Shaba. Dabarim, words 31:21. So Moses, Wa Moshe, wrote, Katab, this song, Eth Ha Shira Ha Joth, this day, Bar Ha Yaum Ha Hu, and he taught it to, Wa Lamed Hayeth, the children of Yisrael, Beni Yisrael. Dabarim, words 31:22. Then, Yahowah, Wa Yahowah, instructed and commissioned, Zarowa Eth, Yasha ben Nun, Yahowah continues to save and propagate prosperity, Yasha ben Nun. He said, Wa Amar, succeed by being strong and steadfast, both firm and intense, seizing the moment by being intrepid, chazaq, and also, Wa, by being courageous and uncompromising, growing ever more determined, amitz. Surely, Ky, you will bring, Otabo, the children of Yisrael, Ben Yisrael, to the land I promised, El Ha Eres Asher Shaba to them, Lahem. And I will be with you, Wa Noki Haya Imota. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:23. God honored his promises, but his people did not honor theirs. They had been given more than anyone on earth. Yahowah had chosen Yisrael. He introduced himself to Abraham and to his descendants. He established his covenant family with Jacob and his sons, giving them the opportunity to become immortal, perfected, adopted, enriched, and empowered, inheriting the earth and the universe beyond. Yahowah's revelation to humankind was presented through Yisrael, in their presence and in their language, with every prophet sharing their ethnicity. God even engaged to liberate them from the worst man had to offer, promising to do it again. But his words fell on deaf ears. Those he had done everything for, ignored him, rejected him, and came to despise him, choosing to worship gods they had conceived. So rather than experience the best Yahweh had to offer, they would endure the worst humankind could devise. These may be the saddest words I have ever read. And that is because they were spoken by God and directed at those he had served. 479 But then they will produce and pursue other gods and serve them while coming to spurn, reject, and despise me. They will also thwart and then break my covenant family. So then when it happens that they encounter and experience the most perverse and immoral calamities, the worst perpetrated by the rabbis, during these unfortunate and vexing circumstances and anguishing times of tribulation, then the response will be the lyrics of this song in their presence as an enduring witness. Indeed, it will not be ignored or forgotten because of the speeches they have sown. For I know what they are inclined to do at this time, even before I have brought them into the promised land. If you are a religious Jew, you should be apologetic and ashamed. The Torah you claim to observe condemns you. The people of promise have broken every promise they have made to God. If you are Jewish, you are now aware of why your ancestors endured hell on earth. You know why Yahweh was silent and still. He did not reject you, you spurned him. It did not have to be this way. Jews could have made better choices. Even today, the opportunity exists to reconcile the relationship the religious have severed. Yahweh can be known. And God can be approached. He remains where he has always been, in the words which comprise his Torah. Then, Wah, it came to exist, Haya, it occurred, Kal imperfect, just as, Ka, Moshe, finished, Kala, concluded, Peel infinitive, demonstrably put into effect, writing, La Katab, inscribing using a written alphabet to communicate, Kal infinitive, the words, Eth Debar, the message, accounts and statements of the Torah, 480 teaching and guidance, Ha-Torah Ha-Joth, instructions and directions, from of the signed, written, and enduring Torah, way of treating people, providing the means to explore, seek, find, and choose, Yara, the source from which instruction, teaching, guidance, and direction flow, that Tob offers answers which facilitate our response, restoration, and return to that which is Tob, good, beneficial, and right, and that which causes us to become acceptable and to endure, Tohora, purifying and cleansing us, so as to provide an opportunity to change our thinking, attitude, and direction, upon the written scroll, Al-Sefer, on the inscribed document designed to recount, relate, declare, and communicate, to the point of completing the eternal witness for them, ad tamam, perfectly finishing the restoring testimony on their behalf, Dabarim 31:24, Moshe, one who draws out, provided directions to, Zarowa, instructed, appointed, and commissioned, the Lowy, Lowy, those who join and unite, lifting up and carrying, Nasa, to raising and bearing, respecting and honoring. Ark, Around, the chest and container, from Ara, to gather enduring a harvest, of the covenant, Berith, of the family-oriented relationship agreement, from Baith, family and home, of Yahweh, as directed in his Torah, teaching regarding his higher existence. He said, La'amar, to advise, Dabarim 31:25, accept and grasp hold of, Lakek, receive and obtain, Kal infinitive, the written scroll, Sefer, the written letter and inscribed document designed to recount and communicate, of the Torah, instructions and directions, Ha-Torah Ha-Zeh, of this source of guidance and teaching, the signed and written means to return, be restored and accepted, and place, Wasim, put, it alongside Eth-Humin-Sad, it against, near, and beside, Yahweh's, Yahowah. An accurate presentation of the name of Eloah, God as guided by his Torah, 481 instructions regarding his higher existence, your gods, Elohim Atom, Ark, Around, chest and container, from Ara, to gather in a harvest, of the covenant, Berith, family-oriented relationship agreement. Then, it will exist, Wahaya, he will be, there, Sham, here and by name, with you, Bar Otter, as the restoring witness of the enduring testimony, the everlasting evidence and eternal record on how to return and be restored. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:26. Yahweh put his people on notice, the Torah is written, not oral. The Torah is complete, lacking nothing, therefore not in need of the Talmud's rules on eating kosher or doing nothing on the Shabat. The Torah was to be kept and shared by the Lowy, Levites, and thus not by rabbis. It is the greatest treasure associated with the Ark of the Covenant because it explains how to benefit from it. And yet, the Ark and the Covenant have both been written out of Judaism, along with Yahweh's name. It is telling that Yahweh would hide in plain sight. He would be there all along. Within the book he realized his people would dress up as a whore and parade around like a captured trophy. God recognized that Jews would write him and his name out of their lives, forsaking what actually mattered in deference to the gibberish and balderdash of their Babylonian Talmud. It is why his final plea to Yisra'el throughout the 51st chapter of Yirmiyah, Jeremiah, is to come out of Babylon before its religious and political legacies are destroyed. Should you have thought that Yahweh's prophetic assessment of Israelites was overly critical, consider Moseh's evaluation of the people he had liberated and led. Let's be honest, KY, indeed, emphasizing the validity of this point, I realize, Anoki Yada, I am aware 482 and I am acknowledging, making known, Cal Perfect, that you have been contentious and rebellious, resistant and at times are revolting, Eth Mariota, that you are annoying and embittered, obstinate and stubborn, and you are hard-headed and stiff-necked, Wa Eth Orifota, to the point of being exceedingly difficult and even cruel, Ha Kasha, mean-spirited and uncooperative, unaccommodating, and unyielding. Look, Hine, now pay attention because this is important, behold, even today, while I am still living and with you, Bar Od Eniche Matam Ha Yaum, you have been inhospitable, contentious and defiant, Marahaya, you are recalcitrant and unwelcoming, exceedingly disloyal and rebellious, overtly obstinate, against, Yahowah. So, it is certain that you'll be far more aggravating, after my passing, Achar Moith Eni. Dabarim, words 31:27. Of your own free will, gather together and summon, Kahal, choose to call together and assemble, hyphal imperative, to me, Eleni, all of the leaders of your tribes, Shurl Zak and Shebeth Atom, all of the eldest judges, Shurl Zak and Shaphat Atom, every elder among the judges, from 4Qet, and your scribes and other officials, Wa Shota Atom, so that I can, of my own volition, speak, Wa Dabar, because I want to convey the word, Peel imperfect cohortative, those listening will be affected by these words which, as an expression of Moseh's personal decision and desire, will have an enduring effect over time, such that they can hear, Bar Erzan Hem, in their ears, these specific words, Ha Dabarim Ha Alei, as I repeatedly testify as a witness on behalf of the spiritual realm and the earth against them, Wa Yud Bar Hemeth Ha Shamem Wa Eth Ha Eres. Dabarim, words 31:28. Indeed, KY, I know, Yada, I am aware, understand, and acknowledge, that immediately after my passing, and right to the very end, Achar Moith Eni, it is 483 certain that you will be corrupt and be destructive, denigrating and destroying yourselves, KY Shakath, you will become so immoral that you will invalidate yourselves, becoming worthless and perverse, decaying like a pit filled with slime, hyphal infinitive absolute imperfect paragogic none, while turning away from and forsaking, wa so men. The way which, to receive the benefits of the relationship, Derek Asher, I had instructed you, Zarowa Eth Atom, I had provided directions on your behalf. And so, why, you will invite and summon upon yourselves, Kara Eth Atom, as a result of what you read and recite you will encounter as a result of your own choices the lingering effect of, Kalwekatal perfect, shepherds who are exceedingly evil and disastrously troubling, disagreeable, malignant, and injurious, Ra, leaders of the flock who are miserable and rotten, immoral and wrong, in the days to come and right to the very end, Bar Ekareth Ha Yaumim, well into the future. Because you will consistently and actually engage in, KYSR, for it is evident and undeniable that you will choose to literally promote and continually act upon, doing, Kal imperfect Jussive, that which is wrong, Eth Hara, that which is sadly immoral and irrational, harmful and troubling, distressing and disagreeable, evil and injurious, in the sight of Yahowah, Bar Ein Yahowah, from Yahowah's vantage point and perspective. Provoking him to anger, La Kas Hu, irritating and grieving him to the point of righteous indignation, by the labor of your hands, Bar Maseh Yod Atom. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:29. By rebelling against Yahowah, Jews became the best bad example the world would ever know. It is one of many reasons their story is chronicled throughout the Torah. And it isn't just Judaism which can be blamed upon the children of Israel but also Christianity, Islam, and 484 socialist secular humanism, along with its derivatives, atheism, communism, and progressive liberalism. Jews need to hear what Moses had to say, this day, right now, today. He understood what I have been trying to convey, the problem is not being Jewish but, instead, Judaism. To speak out against Yahweh, Jews is an affront to Yahowah and is the very definition of antisemitism, which means, against the name. However, to save Jews from themselves, we must first encourage them to come to the realization that Moses was right and that Judaism is wrong. As we journey deeper into the Word of God, especially as we delve into the preamble to the Mikra, invitations to be called out and meet with God, we will discover that the children of Yisrael remained unchanged. Moses did not leave Miriam, because he killed a Miri taskmaster to prevent the slave driver from murdering a Hebrew slave. He left because the Hebrews he tried to help were as they are described here. It had been 80 years and it is as if nothing had changed. And even before them, as we will discover, Abraham was far from a paradigm of morality. Jacob also had his moments as did Dowd, and they were among the best of Abraham's descendants. Let's afford Moses the last word. And then, Moses the one who draws out, Moshe, finished, Kala, speaking, Wadabar, these words, Ethhadabar Ha'aleh, to all, El Shirl, Yisra'el, individuals who strive and struggle against God along with those who engage and endure with God, Yisra'el. Dabarim, words 31-1. The son of 120, Wa ben Mia Wisrim, years, Shana, said, Amar, to them, El-Hem, at this time, Ha-Yaum, I am, Anoki, no longer able, lo 485 Yakolod, to carry on conducting an exodus, La Yatza, or to enter, La Bo. Yahowah, Yahowah, said to me, Amar Eleni, you are not going to be passing over, Lo Abar, that which is associated with the Yarden, being diminished, Eth Ha-Yarden Ha-Zeh. Dabarim, words 31-2. Yahowah, your God, Elohim Otter, he, Hu, will actually pass over, Obar, in your presence, La Pana Otter. He, himself, will overthrow and decimate, Hu Shamid, these particular Goim, people of different ethnicities and cultures, Eth Ha-Goim Ha-Aleh, out of your presence, Min La Pana Otter, so that you inherit what they possess, YYV2C7. Yahusha, Yahowah liberates and delivers, Joshua, Yahusha, he, Hu, will genuinely and demonstrably cross over, Obar, appearing in your presence, La Pana Otter, representing the word as spoken by Yahowah, Ka Asher Dabar Yahowah. Dabarim, words 31-3. Therefore, Yahowah, Yahowah, will do to them, Asar Lahem, exactly what he did with, Ka Asher Asar La, Sihon, the warrior who wipes away, who attacked Yisrael rather than allowing the people to transit through the Moabite territory he had conquered, Sihon, and Og, round like a cake, who attacked the Israelites and lost everything, while Og, the kings, Melikim, of the Emery, big talkers, Emery, along with their land, while Ereshem, when, to show the proper way, Asher, he destroyed and decimated them, Shamid Ethem. Dabarim, words 31-4, then, Yahowah, Yahowah, will offer them to you, turning them over upon your appearance, Nathan Hem La Pana Atom, and you shall act toward them, Sar Lahem, in a manner which is consistent with, Ka, all of the 486 conditions pertaining to the relationship, Shel Ha, which, to convey the benefits of the relationship, Asher, I have instructed you, providing directions for you, Zarowa Ethotter. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:5. Prevail by choosing to be strong and steadfast, succeeding by being resolute and overpowering, both firm and intense, seizing the moment by being intrepid, chazaq, especially, courageous and uncompromising, growing ever more determined to acknowledge your elevated status while persistent, and assured of your success, amitz. You should never be intimidated or frightened, al-yer. You should never be terrified, terrorized, or oppressed, while al-aratz, by their presence, min panahem, because indeed, Yahowah, your God, Elohim Otter, he, Hu, will be walking with you, Ha-Holakim Otter. He will not abandon you by choice because it was not his desire to disassociate from you, Lo Rapha Otter, and he will not always forsake or completely reject you, Lo Azab Otter. Dabarim, words 31-6. Then, Moshe, summoned, calling out, Kara, to Yahusha, La Yahusha. He said to him, Amar El-Hu, before the eyes, La Ain, of all, Shirl, Yisra'el, succeed by being resolute and overpowering, both firm and intense, seizing the moment by being intrepid, chazaq, especially, courageous and uncompromising, amitz. For indeed, you, Otter, yourself, will go with the people, Boeth Ha-Zeh, to this land, El-Ha-Eres, which, to show the way to the benefits of the relationship, Asher, Yahowah, promised, Shaba, their fathers, La Bahem, to give to them, La Nathan Lahem. Now, you, Otter, yourself, will 487 bestow it to them as an inheritance, Nakal Hi Ethem. Dabarim, words 31-7. He, Hu, Yahowah, will be walking, Ha-Holok, alongside your presence, La Pana Otter. He, Hu, himself, will actually and always exist, higher, with you, him. He will never withdraw from you or allow you to falter, Lo Rapha Otter, and he will never abandon or reject you, Lo Azab Otter. You will not be intimidated, Lo Yer. And, you will never be dismayed or discouraged, confounded or confused, lo chatteth. Dabarim, words 31-8. And so therefore, Moshe, wrote, inscribing a permanent copy of, Katab, this, the one and only, Torah, Torah HaJoth, upon a scroll, documenting it in writing, al-Sefer. Then, he gave it as a gift to, Nathan Hiel, the priests, Kohen, the sons, Ben, of Lowy, those lifting up, Nasa, Yahowah, Ark, Aaron, of the covenant, Berith, and to all, Shurl, of the elders, Zakon, of Yisra'el. Dabarim, words 31-9. And, Moshe, provided instruction, Zarowa, for them, Ethem, saying, at the conclusion of, Minkes, 7, Sheba, years, Shana, during, the eternal witnesses to the appointed meeting times, Mode, of the year, Shana, of freeing slaves and releasing debtors from all of their obligations, Shemitah, during the Chag, festival feast, Chag, of Sukah, shelters, HaSukah, Dabarim, words 31-10, with, the arrival, of all, Shurl, Yisra'el, individuals who engage and endure with God, Yisra'el, appearing. Before the presence of, Yahowah, your God, Elohim Otter, in the place, Makam, which, Asher, he has actually and consistently chosen, Basher, for you to 488 encounter, read, and recite, Kara, this Torah, teaching and guidance, Torah HaJoth, in the presence of, Nejd, all, Shurl, Yisra'el, so that they will hear it, Zanhem. Dabarim, words 31-11. Gather and assemble, Kahal, the family, Ha'am, the men, Ha'ish, the women, Ha'isha, and the children, Tap, along with those among you from different ethnicities, Otter, who, as a result of the relationship, Asher, are within your communities, Otter, so that, Laman, they will actually and continually hear, Shama, and so that, Laman, they will learn and be properly guided, Lamed, and so, they will revere and respect, Yahowah, their God, Elohim Hem. Then, they will be observant, Shema, thereby actively engaging in and demonstrably acting upon, La'asar, all, Shurl, of the words, Dabar, of the Torah, source of teaching and guidance, Torah HaJoth. Dabarim, words 31-12. Then, their children, Ben-Hem, who are unaware, and who do not know or understand, Asher lo Yada, will listen, Shama, and learn, lamed, approaching by respecting, Yahowah, your God, Elohim Atom, each and every day, Shurl Ha-Yam, which, while within the relationship, Asher you live, Atom Chaim, upon the earth, Al-Ha-Adama, which beneficially, Asher, you, Otter, will pass over, Atom Obar, that which is associated with the Yarden, being diminished, Yarden Sham, as an inheritance. Becoming an heir to this, La Yarash Hai. Dabarim, words 31-13. Yahowah, said, Amar, to Moshe, behold, Hine, you will rest, Otter Shakab, with your fathers, Imabai Otter. Then, these people 489 Waha Hazeh, will rise up, establishing themselves in opposition, and prostitute themselves, Wazana, chasing after without hesitation, and even until the very end, Achar, foreign gods, Elohim Nekar, of the region, Ha-Eres, which they are entering, Asher Hubo Sham. With them in their midst, Kireb Hu, they will choose to consistently forsake me, Azab Eni. And they will violate and nullify, Para'eth, my covenant, Berith Eni, which, to convey the benefits of the relationship and to get the most out of life, Asher, I conceived and cut with them, Karath Ethu. Dabarim, words 31-16. Then, my resentment and righteous indignation, Afeni, will be aroused, Cherah, against them, Hu, during that time, Ha-Yam Ha-Hu. So, I will forsake them, Azabhem, and I will hide, Satar, my presence, Hana Eni, from them, Minhem. Therefore, they will be, higher, devoured, La-Kal. And, many terrible things including the wrongdoing of the rabbis, Ra-Rab, will be encountered by them, Matsahu. Then, because of these troubles and resulting anxiety, Wazara, they will say, Ma, at that time, Ha-Yam Ha-Hu, is this not because surely the Almighty, Ha-Lo Lky, Yahowah, is not with us, Ein Bar Kireb Eni, thereby explaining why we are experiencing, Matzah Eni, these evil associations and this perverse misery, Ha Ra Ha Lay. Dabarim, words 31:17. Therefore, I, Anoki, will conceal my presence such that I can no longer be known, Satar Pana Eni, at that time, Bar Ha Yam Ha Hu, from being around all of the evil, Al Shurl Ha Ra, which they have perpetrated, Asher Asar. Because indeed, they 490 have turned to and prepared, Pana El, other gods, Elohim Achar. Dabarim, words 31:18. Now, therefore, Otter, write, Katab, the words, Ha Dabarim, on how to approach the lyrics of this song for your own benefit, La Atameth Ha Shira Ha Joth, and teach it, Lamid Hai, to the children of Yisra'el, Eth Beni Yisrael. Place it in their mouths, Sim Hai Bar Pehem, so that this song will exist for me, Laman Hai La Eni Ha Shira Ha Joth, as an enduring witness, La Ed, against the children of Yisrael, Bar Beni Yisrael. Dabarim, words 31:19. Indeed, when I brought them, Kybo Hu, into the land, Bahar Armor, that, for the benefit of the relationship, Asher, I promised to their fathers, Shabolah by Hu, it was flowing with milk and honey, Zub Shalab Wa Dabash. And so, once they have eaten and become satisfied and satiated, Wa Kal Wa Shaba, prospering and thriving, Wa Dashan, then they will produce, turn to, and pursue other gods, Wa Pana El Elohim, and serve them, Wa Badhem, while coming to spurn, reject, and despise me, Wa Nats Eni. They will also thwart and then break, Wa Para, my covenant, Eth Barith Eni. Dabarim, words 31:20. So when it comes to pass, Wa Haya Ky, that they encounter and experience, Matzah, the most perverse and immoral calamities, the worst perpetrated by the rabbis, Eth Hura Rab, along with these unfortunate and vexing circumstances during anguishing times of tribulation, Wazara, then the response, Wa Anna, will be the lyrics of this song, Ha Shira Ha Joth, in their presence, La Panahu, as an enduring witness, La Ed. Indeed, it will not be ignored or forgotten, Lo Shakik, because of the speeches, Min Pei, they have 491 sown, Zerahu. For I know, Yada, what they are inclined to do, Eth Yetzahu Ashahu Asar, at this time, Ha Yaum, even before, Bar Terim, I have brought them into, Bohu Ha, the promised land, Ha Eres Asher Shaba. Dabarim, words 31:21. So Moshe, wrote, Katab, this song, Eth Ha Shira Ha Joth, this day, Bar Ha Yaum Ha Hu, and he taught it to, Lamid Hayeth, the children of Yisrael, Beni Yisrael. Dabarim, words 31:22. Then, Yahowah, Yahowah, instructed and commissioned, Zarowa Eth, Yasha ben Nun, Yahowah continues to save and propagate prosperity, Yasha ben Nun. He said, Ma, succeed by being strong and steadfast, both firm and intense, seizing the moment by being intrepid, chazaq, and also, by being courageous and uncompromising, growing ever more determined, amitz. Surely, you will bring, Otabo, the children of Yisrael, Ben Yisrael, to the land I promised, El Ha Eres Asher Shaba to them, Lahem. And I will be with you, Noki Haya Imota. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:23. Then, it came to be, Haya, just as, Moshe, finished, Kala, writing, La Katab, the words, Eth Debar, of the Torah, teaching and guidance, Ha Torah Ha Joth, upon the written scroll, Al Sefer, to the point of completing the eternal witness for them, Ad Tamam Hem, Dabarim, words 31:24, Moshe, provided directions to, Zarowa, the Lowy, Eth Ha Lowy, lifting up and carrying, Nasa, the ark, Aaron, of the covenant, Berith, of Yahowah. He said, La Dabarim 31:25, accept and grasp hold of, Lakek, the written scroll, Sefer, of the Torah, instructions and directions, Ha Torah Ha Zeh, and place, Sim, it alongside, Eth Humin Sad, 492 Yahowah, your gods, Elohim Atom, Ark, Aaron, of the covenant, Berith. Then, it will exist, Haya, there, Sham, with you, Bar Otter, as the restoring witness of the enduring testimony, Ed. Dabarim, words 31:26. Let's be honest, I realize, Anoki Yada, that you have been contentious and rebellious, resistant and at times are revolting, Eth Mary Otter, and you are hard-headed and stiff-necked, Eth Orif Otter, to the point of being exceedingly difficult and even cruel, mean-spirited and uncooperative, Hakasha. Look, Hine, even today, while I am still living and with you, Ba'od eni chaim atom ha-yaum, you have been inhospitable and contentious, unappreciative and exceptionally disloyal, even defiant, Marahaya, against, Yahowah, Yahowah. So, it is certain that you'll be far more aggravating, Wahafky, after my passing, Acharmoith eni. Dabarim, words 31:27. Of your own free will, gather together and summon, Kahal, to me, Eleni, all of the leaders of your tribes, Chazaq and Shebeth Atom, all of the eldest judges, Chazaq and Shaphat Atom, and your scribes and other officials, Washota Atom, so that I can, of my own volition, speak, Wadabar, such that they can hear, Ba'azanhem, these specific words, Ha-dabarim ha-alay, as I repeatedly testify as a witness on behalf of the spiritual realm and the earth against them. YYV2C7 ha-shamem wa-eth ha-eres. Dabarim, words 31:28. Indeed, KY, I know, Yada, I am aware, understand, and acknowledge, that immediately after my passing, and right to the very end, Acharmoith eni, it is certain that you will be corrupt and that you will be destructive, denigrating and destroying yourselves, KY shakath, while turning away from an 493 forsaking, Wachamin, the way which, to receive the benefits of the relationship, Derek Asher, I had instructed you, Zarowa ethatom. And so, you will invite and summon upon yourselves, as a result of what you read and recite, Kara ethatom, shepherds who are exceedingly evil and disastrously troubling, disagreeable, malignant, and injurious, in the days to come and right to the very end, Karith ha-yaumim, because you will consistently and actually engage in, Kyasar, that which is wrong, eth-ha-ra, in the sight of Yahowah, Ba'ain Yahowah, provoking him to anger, la-kashu, by the labor of your hands. Moseh Yod Atom. Dabarim, words, Deuteronomy 31:29.